pre-show together. Actually, not my underwear showing. That's probably not good.
Just hike it up a little more. We got our legs.
A little leg, you know? It's warm. We're good.
Oh, we're good.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, welcome to the first ever MasterCup hosted by Rip.Fun. Today you can expect, a lot of high-level gameplay. We've got some of the best players from all around the world. We've got, well-known seniors, Gabriel Fernandez. We've got Jose Cruz representing that junior division. And then we're bringing in some of the top talent from every region around the world, right?
Yep. There's players from all over the world that came here to start off their journey for NAIC. They get to try out some new cards too and test their skill against some of the best players in the world. This is a great opportunity for some of these young players, some established players too. Want to make sure that they hold on to that title that they've got, and we're going to show off a lot of that here today.
Yeah, multiple world champions, international champions in the tournament, so it'll be great to see this today.
Yep, and all of this is being made possible primarily by Rip.Fun. So stay tuned to the stream. We're going to have some codes for their closed beta that it's going live either today or later this week. Like I said, stay tuned. We'll have those up intermittently throughout the stream. You'll be able to open packs live on their website and add them to your collection. Try to bolster that, trade them with other players and collectors, and just hopefully see that grow.
CutterTap.com as well. Be sure to check out their Metafy for articles, videos, tournaments. Tons of the players here are also writing articles for that too. And then Evolutions Trading, a great establishment from Texas. Go check them out for your cards, sleeves, and TCG product needs.
And of course, none of this would be possible without the support of Courtyard Brewery, who are hosting the event here for us. Shout outs to them. If you are in the area in New Orleans, be sure to stop by and offer them your patronage.
Awesome. Well, Aaron, tell the people a little bit about the event. What is the format going to look like as these players start to eye up how they can win this championship?
Yeah, so we are doing one of the first events in the Destined Rivals format in the West. So we've got that brand new expansion coming in, introducing some more of those owners Pokemon. We've got Ethan's Typhlosion, Cynthia's Garchomp, the Team Rocket's cards, and trying to see if those can shake up the metagame. Coming in, maybe oust those Gardevoir and Dragapult decks as our players try to climb through the Swiss rounds, make it into that asymmetrical top cut, and take home that big cash prize.
Jeremy, we got a new introduction. We've seen a bench barrier addition into the format. What are you expecting out of Shaman this time around?
I mean, Shaman is a good card, right? There's no doubting that. But the format's kind of a little hostile. There's a lot of Frostlass, which is not really Shaman's best friend. We'll have to see. I think it's going to make an impact. It's mostly on deck choice, right? We're not going to see a lot of like Water Ogerpon as much. And maybe people will try to tech it for Grimmsnarl, but again, it could be a liability depending on the deck list.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider when we look at some of these new cards. We've got ways to now finally disrupt Noctowl. We've got this inclusion of the bench barrier. We've got some interesting ways to slim down on hit points as well too. So we've seen a lot of new cards thrown in. I'm curious what the player selections are going to be as they pick their decks to try to win this event.
Yeah, it's also best of 1 Swiss, and then top 8 cut. Once we get the top 8, it's going to be best of 3. So it'll be interesting to see how the players kind of navigate that.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to see some influence in that deck choice, right? Some of the slower decks that maybe like to favor that 50-minute best of 3 format, take that long game one. You don't necessarily expect to finish a full best of 3, but trying to cram that game into 30 minutes can be a little bit difficult sometimes.
Yeah, and that's where we can see some potential influence from players from Asia having a bit of a better chance here. They've been playing in a format where you play 30 minutes, and so you have to play quickly and get your games in. So maybe we'll see a little bit of that here too.
Sure.
Yeah. It looks like we're about to start our
ready.
game, so it's going to be interesting. We have a great one to start off as well. It's Gabriel Fernandez up against Andrew Hedrick. Now, Gabriel is looking for the perfect season this season with maxed out championship points.
Unreal.
If he wins NAIC. Insane from anyone, let alone a...
Two IC wins so far. We're going to make it 3 this weekend. Every single Latin American region. I believe one,
I think there was like one
You're going to have a regional win dropped off.
Absolutely.
All right, well, with that, everybody, it was great to introduce the show to you. We're so excited to bring you this tournament. I'm going to leave you in the trusted hands of Jeremy and Aaron, and let's get into the game.
We'll see more from Kyle later. But here we go. I think we've got both of our players at the table. I think we're set up, and we are just about ready to start.
Tell them a bit about yourself, Aaron. Come on.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm probably the least known person that you're going to see on the couch today. I'm Aaron Curry, been a longtime player. Started way back, when Wizards of the Coast was still running Pokemon tournaments, and continued on through the TPCI era from 2004 up until about 2013. Took a little bit of a break, but came back trying to hit the ground hot and heavy and see if I, can't make a run this year at NAIC myself.
All right. Yeah, it's going to be exciting for sure. Can't wait for this weekend, but we got this amazing tournament for y'all today. Andrew Hedrick on that Marnie's Grimmsnarl up against Gabriel Fernandez, playing a Dragapult EX and starting the Bear up against an Iron Hands. This is pretty interesting for sure. And oh no.
Yeah, I think we've got a little bit of an error there on the stream graphic. It looks like Andrew is actually playing the Joltik box. So still opening that Iron Hands can be a little bit of a liability if you can't find that either the Latias EX or that future booster capsule to get it out of the way and get it out of the active here. But we do see it looks like Andrew is going first. Not necessarily the ideal situation for that Joltik box, looking for that jolting charge on turn 1 to get all of those energies powered onto the bench.
Yeah, Joltik box is one of those decks where you kind of just have the same game plan going into every matchup, right?
Sure.
Like you want to get that energy on Joltik turn 1, turn 2 attack, and then from there you're just hoping to hit your boss's orders for the rest of the game.
Absolutely. And so we don't have a ton of information on Gabriel's deck at present. Blood Moon Ursaluna is a card that is pretty ubiquitous. It's present in a lot of decks in the format, but I believe we did see a mulligan from him at the start of the game, and I know I saw, I think, a Pidgeotto in there. So
okay.
Still doesn't necessarily give us any information.
Yeah.
Pidgeot's a pretty powerful card, can also be present in a variety of archetypes. So you see Andrew going through, just doing some price checking, trying to decide what to get off of this nest ball.
I think I know it's probably going to be a Miraidon. That's or not. Okay, Latias. Maybe you already have the Miraidon in hand. Tandem Unit is definitely one of those abilities that you want to have on that first turn. Just being able to grab your Joltik, grab your Pikachu, that way you have both of your attackers ready so you can charge them up next turn. But Latias is definitely one of those cards, especially if you start that Iron Hands. Just easy way to get out of the active.
Yeah, the hefty 4 retreat cost can often make things a little bit difficult. Some of that maneuverability added from the Latias definitely going to help things out here. And it looks like we do see another Ultra Ball coming down. Maybe this will fetch that Miraidon that you were talking about just a moment ago.
Yeah, again, gonna have to kind of get rid of some resources that you don't want to get rid of. Nest Ball is definitely one of the best cards in the deck.
Sure.
Just being able to get anything, really. And I also want to talk about the prizes for this event. It is a payout to top 4. First is 2K, second is 1,000, and then top 4 gets 500.
Yep, and I do believe we also have some non-cash prizing being provided as well for some of the members of top 8.
Okay, yeah, some booster boxes.
So some of that product that maybe has been a little bit hard to find for some people, just adding to the total prize pool for this event.
Now, Ultra Ball discarding Crispin and another Ultra Ball, but now we see that powerful Miraidon EX with the Tandem Unit. And this is looking like a pretty good turn as long as Andrew has an energy to attach.
Yep, absolutely. So, with that Miraidon on board, the Tandem Unit able to fetch those 2 electric basics from the deck. You don't necessarily need that follow-up Ultra Ball now that you have a lot of your search available on board already. And then the Crispin, the deck normally plays 4 of them. You can probably afford to get rid of 1.
It's one of the easiest deck lists to fill out, really.
Yeah.
It's like 4 Boss's Orders, 4 Crispin, and then Pokemon Search. Pretty much it.
And it looks like we may be able to bring you a few more specifics about some of these deck lists now. Just got them handed off to us here. But off of that tandem unit, Andrew's selecting only the Joltik, maybe not wanting to put a liability on his bench as of yet, if he doesn't know if that Pikachu is necessary in this matchup.
Yeah, that is definitely one thing you kind of want to watch out for, especially starting Blood Moon or Saluna. You really don't know what your opponent could be playing. And looking at Andrew's list, it does seem pretty standard. There's only 3 Crispin, so discarding that 1 might hurt a little bit later on. There's a Vitality Band to reach those pesky numbers, 2 Bravery Charms, so we can see those kind of be utilized pretty well in this matchup, and the energy split seems pretty normal too.
Okay. Yeah, probably, 5 Grass, 5 Lightning, a couple Metal, and maybe
1
some Psychic?
Yeah, you got that Lily's Clefairy in there.
And then just simply the attach of the Grass and the pass over to Gabriel, who's going to utilize an energy search here, grab a Fire Energy. See that Gabriel, now that we have access to this deck list, is utilizing
what
deck?
Charizard.
Oh,
okay,
wow.
It's Charizard Pidgeot. This is crazy. All right. This deck has kind of fallen out of favor with the past format, and then with Destined Rivals, it kind of picked up a little bit of steam, but just Charizard in different variations. It'll be interesting to see how he kind of navigates this, and that means starting that Blood Moon or Saluna is pretty detrimental, because looking through the list, there is 1 Professor Turo scenario, and that's the only way to get it out of the active.
Yeah, these Charizard decks aren't going to be packing a card like the Latiasi X to add that maneuverability. And, at the very least, with no Pikachu on Andrew's board as of yet, Gabriel knows that he's got an extra turn to find those cards potentially without his Blood Moon being in danger.
Yeah, that is true. You know your opponent is going to do that Jolting Charge, so it gives you a turn to try to set up a Pidgeot EX to find that Professor Turo, but then again, you're setting up a Pidgeot into a deck that's playing a bunch of lightning attackers.
Sure. Yeah, I think one thing, when you were looking through Andrew's list, is he playing the Future Booster Capsule? Are we going to see an amp you very much on that Pidgeot?
Let me take a look.
While we're figuring that out, we are seeing the Arven for the TM Evo, the Buddy Poffin for the Pidgey and Charmander, and we're likely to see a Pidgeotto and a Charmeleon hitting the bench this turn. So a lot of, Charizard used to be a deck that was just 4 Rare Candy, I'm going to Rare Candy Pidgeot, Rare Candy Charizard on turn 2. Now we've seen some of this adaptation, the inclusion of the TM Evo to play around the Badoo, that itchy Pollen Lock, preventing you from playing those Rare Candies on your second turn.
Yeah, it is definitely one of the best tool cards to be utilized in this format is that Technical Machine Evolution. And you see it here, we got Pidgeotto and a Charmeleon up. Interesting that it's the Charmeleon with the 90 HP and the effect to prevent all effects on it. People have usually kind of gone to the 100 HP one.
Yeah, there's kind of, there's an argument for both of them in this format, right?
Yeah.
So you've got the 100 HP one, not having an ability is really big as Frostlass comes further into the game. The one with the ability, you can't use a TM Devolution on it. So, there's merit to both of them, I think.
Yeah, true. And sometimes a lot of the lists are playing a split because you can decide which one to bring out with that evolution.
Sure. And then back over to Andrew, we see a Nest Ball here for that Mew EX. Able to get some of that supplemental draw on the board ready to go. Did we ever find out, do we have the Future Booster Capsule?
There is no Future Booster, just the Vitality Band. So Vitality Band adding 10 extra damage to your attacks is not going to be enough to take out Pidgeot EX with an Ampy very much. So it could be interesting. Maybe Gabriel will be able to kind of just get that Pidgeot EX into play and it'll stay a turn or two, but it's going to depend. You can also just arm press it for the KO,
Sure.
Still get 2 prizes and still have your prize mapping fine. And there we see the Bravery Charm on the Iron Hands as well. So 280 HP on that monster.
Yeah, making it much more difficult for that Charizard to take out. One of the weaknesses that Miraidon-based decks have had into Charizard in the past is that you'll take 2 prizes with Ampy very much typically, And the follow-up that your opponent will have is a Charizard doing 240, which is perfect to knock out that Iron Hands.
I guess we could also see a Blood Moon attack this turn if Gabrielle has like the perfect hand, but you're committing, what, 5 energies onto the
Holy
Blood
cow.
Moon or Saluna. I think if there wasn't a Bravery Charm, there's a route for that, right? You boss's orders, take the KO, you're fine sacrificing all the energy just because you're getting rid of 4 energy on Andrew's side of the board.
Yeah, well, definitely. The difficult decision, I guess, would be Charizard decks are not known for playing a lot of energy cards.
Yeah, usually it's like 6. We've
Yeah.
seen 5 sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, 5 or 6 fire energy. We've seen some inclusion with mist energy coming into the format as cards like TM Devolution have become a bit more popular.
Yeah, there's 5 fire, 1 dark energy, and a luminous. So there is a Monkey Dory in
Okay.
Gabrielle's deck.
Trying to combat those Dragapult and Frostlass decks.
Yeah.
And we did simply see that Jolting charge coming in from the Joltik on Andrew's board, powering up that Iron Hands. Interestingly, it looks like he only grabbed 2 energy off of it. I guess maybe wanting to preserve some of those energy cards in the deck rather than fully committing them to the board.
Yeah. Could also be some gnarly prizes.
True.
We still are working to get those set up for you, but we do have some prize cams.
And then we see the tried and true play of another Arven coming from the Charizard deck here. Gabriel looks like he's trying to establish his board a bit more, make it a bit sturdier. You know, we see another Poffin grab here, and are we going to maybe see another TM Evo? Get a Pidgeot EX, maybe get another Charmeleon out?
There is 2, and the deck works with 2 Countercatcher as well. So you kind of want to give up the first prize so you can start dealing more damage with your Charizard EX. You can knock out like bigger Pokemon as the game goes on. And then we see the Maximum Belt as the Ace spec. So this could actually help Gabrielle reach that 280 to take the knockout on the Iron Hands.
Sure. Unfortunately, with that Arven coming down, we aren't going to see that big Blood Moon attack that you referenced. The Maximum Belt would have made that possible.
Next turn.
I want to see it. I want to see a 5 energy Blood Moon.
Well, it might be a 3 energy after, amp you very much,
that's
right?
fair.
Like, you kind of hope your opponent is going to take a prize or 2.
Well, I mean, if my opponent's not taking prizes, they're not winning, right?
Exactly, yeah. So you could play the slow game.
Something that Joltik Box is definitely not known for, though. Definitely wants to go fast, wants to just kind of run your opponent off the board, get them out of the game as quickly as possible.
And there was no second Technical Machine evolution, so it could have been prize as well, or Gabrielle just wanted that Maximum Belt in hand for next turn. So we'll have to see what Andrew pulls together here. You could even just Jolting charge yet again. Like, there's no pressure being put on you.
Right.
But again, if you have those energies prized or they're all in hand, then you can't.
Absolutely. And then the other thing to be concerned about now, you know your opponent has the Maximum Belt. This Joltik deck doesn't typically play hand disruption cards. Can you just walk in with an Amp You Very Much knowing that that exists?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit scary. There we see another Grass energy, so 3 out of the 5 are on the board now, and we're going to attach it to the Latias here?
That's an interesting decision for sure. With only 1 Psychic in the list, it makes it pretty difficult to, like, you can't utilize that Eon Blade. I'm curious why you would put an energy there.
Yeah, with only 1 Psychic in the deck, sometimes you might even see 2 in some lists.
Sure.
Just so you can combo it with that Lily's Clefairy.
You know, one thing that Gabriel also needs to be aware of, that Joltik with the grass on it already can evolve into that Galvantula from Shattered Fable and utilize a Lightning. Utilize a Lightning with its ability to be able to one-hit KO that Charizard.
And then with the tandem unit, we fetch that Pikachu EX. Now that is going to be a way to get an easy KO on that Pidgeot. With some help, maybe you can KO the Charizard, but does not look like there's Gravity Mountain in the deck either. So
yeah, the deck we've seen it in some lists,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to find. The deck doesn't play something like Chorus's Tenacity or I guess some of them might be playing the Team Rocket's Petrol, but not commonly.
I think if you see it, you see it in like multiple copies because of that, like 2. But the deck is very like tight on room.
Yeah.
You know, where you really can't afford to.
No, I mean you need to play 14, 15 energy cards. You've got these
4
Topaz bolts,
Pokegear.
Topaz Bolt from Pikachu discarding energy. You need to be able to replenish that. You want to make sure you have the 2 Grass and 2 Lightning in your deck to be able to Jolting Charge whenever possible. And when you're powering up things like Iron Hands and Pikachu repeatedly, it makes it difficult to do that if you had a lower energy count. So we end up seeing that eats up a quarter of the deck space. Like you said, the Pokegear, the consistency of the 4 of a lot of the supporters, there's just not a ton of space afterwards.
Yeah, and here we see the Jolting Charge getting 2 Lightning out of the deck, 1 on the Pikachu EX, 1 on the Miraidon EX. The Grass on the Pikachu was from the hand, and honestly, I think that's it. So the energy's not giving Andrew much to work with here this game.
It'll be interesting. I'm wondering with the discard of that Crispin, how accessible that metal energy is going to be for the Pikachu.
Yeah, also the fetching the Pokegear off the Arven for next turn.
Sure.
Here we see another Pidgeotto and a Brock Scouting. So we're going to see an evolution here. Pidgeot EX, most likely.
Probably. It's interesting. So Gabriel looks like he's trying to play that game of chicken. Maybe when you get that Pidgeot on board, or we could see the grab of the Pidgeot but not evolving it yet, wanting to potentially wait to utilize that Quick Search to grab that Turo to move the Blood Moon before really kind of coming out the gate and doing something. Right now it's kind of a game of chicken.
Yeah. I don't know if Pidgeot's a chicken, but it's a bird for sure.
It's probably the biggest pigeon you've ever seen, right?
Yeah. There is that Pidgeot EX. Quick Search will now open up the deck for Gabriel, being able to find anything that he wants. Could we see Charizard EX here? Start getting things going, have the supporter already being played for the turn, so you can't boss his orders.
Can't boss his orders, can't Professor Turo's scenario to move the Blood Moon. Are we going to see that 4 or 5 energy Blood Moon come out?
No, we're just going to pass the turn.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting. So Quick Search for a card, put it in the hand, just get ready for next turn. Maybe it's that boss's orders.
Yeah, we've got the Pokegear coming probably.
Maybe it's the Turo, but you would have to think now is going to be the turn that Andrew starts to take some prizes. There's multiple 2 prize Pokemon on the field. Pikachu could go ahead and deal with that Blood Moon if you want, or we could see a boss's orders arm press on the Pidgeot EX.
Definitely. And, you know, I think the Pikachu seems like probably the safest course of action. You've got the Resolute Heart ability, preventing it from being fully knocked out in one hit from anything on Gabriel's side of the board. But a lot of that may come down to what supporter are we playing for the turn.
True, yeah. Well, it does look like Earthen Vessel finds another Lightning and that Metal, so access to the Metal for Pikachu if Andrew wants. And then looking at the list for Gabriel, there is 1 Jamming Tower. So if this Blood Moon stays in play, the Jamming Tower could mean an easy KO on that Iron Hands.
Yeah, if we see the Topaz Bolt discarding all of the energy from the Pikachu, a counter catcher on that Iron Hands, wipe all of the energy off the board, and really put Andrew on the back foot.
Well, here is Pokegear. Is there no supporter in that
that looks
7?
like a full whiff.
All right. That is not very often for this deck.
No. And you have to wonder, what is the decision going to be if there is no supporter in hand?
Yeah, remember, Andrew searched out that Pokegear last turn with Arven just to try to find maybe that boss's orders. Hasn't really been able to draw too much. The hand's been kind of a little bit full, so you can't use that restart ability from UEX.
Right, especially when you do, it's kind of just been living off the top deck more or less, right? But we do see that Vitality Band coming down. 310 doesn't seem like too big of a break point for Pikachu here this game, but maybe just trying to get the card out of the hand to utilize that restart ability for one card.
Definitely better in like a Gardevoir matchup or something.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, we'll restart for 1. What did Andrew find? And there is that Prime Catcher. So we are going to go with the Iron Hands route, taking out that Pidgeot EX.
And choosing just to use that Arm Press for the 320 damage, thanks to the Lightning weakness on the Pidgeot, taking that knockout. and giving Gabriel the decision, what do I promote here? Still, having to guess, does Andrew play Gravity Mountain? Gabriel's not necessarily aware of whether or not he has any copies of that card in his deck yet, making that Charizard potentially not quite as powerful or as safe. And the Joltik on the bench with the grass, evolving into Galvantula, would also be able to take out Charizard.
And with the 2 prizes drawn from Andrew, that does mean Charizard EX could take a knockout on Iron Hands if Jamming Tower is involved.
Well, or that Maximum Belt that we know is in hands.
That is true, yeah.
So if he wants to commit that A-Spec, we would see the knockout here with Burning Darkness coming from Charizard. And we see the Infernal Rain ability, able to grab 3 fire energy from the deck and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like when you evolve into Charizard EX.
Yeah, and Charizard is the safe attacker here. Pikachu cannot take the KO. It is just out of range from that Topaz Bolt. There we see the Maximum Belt. So, like you said, more than enough damage to take the knockout on this Iron Hands EX now.
And then the question becomes, what would the response be from Andrew? Gabriel trying to size up, trying to assess what is in Andrew's hand here.
And this is the kind of scary part for Joltik as a deck, right?
Sure.
Like, your first attacker goes down, you have your Pikachu, you get another 2 prizes with probably like Boss's Orders on the Blood Moon. Where do you find your last 2 prizes? Where do you find the rest of your energy, right?
Right. And that's where the cards like Crispin come into play, trying to accelerate those energies on the board, keep your Pokemon nice and stocked up on energy. Another card we could see that has been very popular in this Joltik deck is the Iron Leaves.
I'm looking right now.
Being able to come in.
There is an Iron Leaves.
So
There's also the Galvantula.
Yeah, we've got 2 grass attackers that are fully capable of knocking out Charizard EX. It's just something where this just seems like a scary matchup for Gabriel at the end of the day.
Yeah, and scary, you'll put in another 2 prizer in that Pidgeot EX into play.
Yep.
With the Ultra Ball, Quick Search finds you a Charmeleon, so you can have another attacker. You just have to hope, like, Andrew's hand has been kind of lackluster, right? It's
right.
Hasn't really been drawing cards and had to use the Prime Catcher already, so cards like Arven aren't going to be an out to most of this stuff.
Yeah, we've seen multiple Ultra Ball played as well, so the Galvantula or the Iron Leaves could both be difficult to find. The Galvantula being an evolution can only be found off of Ultra Ball. Iron Leaves ability, Verdant Wind, has to be played from the hand to activate, so Nest Ball is not an out either.
And we're starting to have a big crowd gather as the rest of the tournament has basically finished up their games. We got 9 minutes left in this game, our round 1 of the Masters Cup.
Yeah, and we saw the Pheasantipity come down to the bench for Andrew with that Flip the Script ability. Because a knockout was taken on the previous turn, we see 3 cards going to the hand. Maybe giving him some more options, breathing some new life into his hand this turn.
Got a little peek at the hand. There's a Crispin where Pokegear maybe find a Boss's Orders. The deck plays 4 of them. Arven found off the Pokegear. Could Arven find the Ultra Ball needed for Galvantula, maybe?
Yeah, you have to imagine it. So looking at the prize map, the assumed prize map for Andrew, if we have a Lightning available for the Galvantula to be able to do the full amount of damage necessary to knock out Charizard, we want to save that Pikachu to boss, ideally, either Blood Moon Ursulin or a Pidgeot for our final 2 prizes. I think that if we can take that attack here with a 1 prizer, just makes it all that more difficult for Andrew to win the game.
All right, there is another Ultra Ball in the deck, so I think this is just going to be good prize mapping from Andrew here. You're going to take the knockout with Galvantula. It is one of Charizard's public enemy number 1,
Yeah.
And then from there, you have the energy on Pikachu already. You just need a Boss's Orders on either the Blood Moon or the Pidgeot EX.
And we haven't seen one played yet.
Yeah, there's still 4 of them in the deck.
So even with an Iono, the odds of drawing one is going to be ever so much higher. And there it is. There is that Galvantula, a card that, didn't see a lot of love when it was first released, right?
Yeah, its Compound Eyes ability paired along with its attack just does a lot of damage, max 180 if you have that lightning energy attached to it and your opponent has an ability, and that's more than enough to take the knockout on the Charizard EX thanks to weakness. It's been pretty well positioned the past few tournaments, and then going into NAIC, I think it's even a little bit better because you've got that Marnie's Grimmsnarl now that's also weak to grass.
Absolutely. The grass is a weakness. For a long time, grass felt kind of like a weak type.
Yeah.
They didn't have very many good attackers. They were niche. There weren't really good weaknesses to play off of. Even when Charizard was the most dominant deck in the format, they just didn't really have a good spot. And now is just the time of these grass Pokemon rising up, being able to take these big KOs, like we just saw with that shocking web attack, taking out the Charizard EX.
And yeah, it's hard to see Andrew losing this game. Now, there could be an Iono to 2. The restart doesn't find anything. And then Gabriel's able to turn the corner a little bit. But you have to take a knockout on this Galvantula. That's one prize, I guess. Or no, we're going to counter catch with a Pikachu EX.
Interesting. Do we know, does Gabriel play anything like Dusclops maybe in this deck?
No, there's the Monkey Dory, and that's pretty much it.
So if we swing into the Pikachu, we set it to 10 HP, we hope that we take an attack that doesn't knock us out, and then we move damage over with Monkey Dory with that Adrenabrain and try to win the game there?
Maybe?
That looks like that's the route here. And I have to assume as well that Gabriel's playing a copy of Briar, right?
No. No Briar.
Interesting. I would think that's always been one of the selling points for Charizard since Briar was released. It's just a very powerful Terra-type Pokemon that's able in these 2-prize scenarios to take those extra prize cards. But instead we just saw the Iono to 2, quick search here. Likely to grab a Charizard if it wasn't available. But we do have that Blood Moon powered up. Blood Moon Ursaluna on the bench can come in and simply Blood Moon the Pikachu and set it to 190 damage.
Yeah, but then Pikachu just comes and KOs you and that's game over.
Right. It's interesting. Yeah, it's a really sticky situation. Do we maybe just see a combustion this turn?
I think we're just going to see a combustion this turn. All right. Gabriel's trying to play the outs, but when you haven't drawn boss's orders the entire game and you get Iono'd, you're just drawing into more boss's orders. I wouldn't have been surprised if Andrew's hand was like 4 boss's orders.
And even without the boss there, it's really difficult to imagine a scenario where Andrew loses that game, right?
Yeah. Just being able to take the first 2 prizes and really leads to a good prize map for the Joltik box deck. And up against a deck where you have a lot of just easy knockouts. Your Galvantula and Iron Leaves are able to knock out Charizard EX a lot. And then you have the lightning weakness of Pidgeot, so any of your other attackers could take the knockout.
Right. And then with that Topaz Bolt from Pikachu, even the Blood Moon's not safe.
Yeah.
So it's just maybe just a rough matchup to start the day. We'll have to see as the tournament progresses if Gabriel's able to bounce back.
And this is kind of why Charizard Pidgeot as a deck kind of fell by the wayside during the last format, is because the popularity of Joltik Box.
So with that being said, what decks do you think Gabriel was hoping to see choosing to bring Charizard to this event?
I mean, it's still just a consistent deck, right? Like, you got Evolution, TM Evolution, and then just your Infernal Rain ability charges up, so you don't really need to worry about your energy attachments for the turn. There's a Picnic Basket in there too, so I think he was kind of playing more for the Marnie's Grimmsnarl matchup.
Sure.
Maybe
that Gardevoir.
That Gardevoir, yeah, stuff like that. But definitely did not want to run into Galvantula.
But it does look like we've got a winner's interview coming in here with Andrew. Yeah, just come sit down, grab the mic.
Pretty interesting. I prized 2 grass energy and I drew my other 3 in my first couple of turns.
That's what it seemed like. When you're jolting charge for like no energy at all, I'm like, something has to be wrong here.
But because he opened the Ursaluna, I knew I had a little bit of extra time I could use the second jolting charge to kind of make up for the fact I couldn't accelerate those grass energies. And so I was able to set up enough energy in play and pretty easily close it out.
How do you feel that matchup is in particular?
I feel pretty good against the Charizard decks for sure. Like, you have the ability to kill their Pidgeot, you can kill their Charizards. And it's usually pretty hard for them to aggressively take 2 prizes when you have a Joltik in the active.
So we know Joltik Box is often thought of as a very simple deck to play, and for such a high-level player as yourself, what made you choose to bring that to this event?
I think it's kind of under-respected. I think there's actually some pretty interesting things that come up. There's your decisions, maybe like aren't always the hardest, but like if you like even mess one thing up, a lot of times you can completely mess up your whole game.
Sure.
And there are a lot of like ways to optimize your turns, optimize your game plan, and I feel like it's usually pretty strong when you do that.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I mean, definitely very powerful cards. You've got the Pikachu EX, you've got the Iron Hands EX, Iron Leaves EX got some new life breathed into it. Galvantula itself, we talked about during the game, is just a really good attacker into a lot of decks, including that Charizard you played against, and of course Marnie's Grimmsnarl as the new deck on the block.
Yeah.
Were there specific matchups that you were hoping to see coming into the tournament?
Yeah, I really like hitting the Marnie's Grimmsnarl deck, so I was hoping that a lot of people were bringing that because it was new and pretty good deck. So.
Absolutely. I mean, I know if I had the opportunity to play, that's what I would have played. It's a really fun deck.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong.
It's very good.
And it's got, a decent matchup spread on top of that.
How are you feeling about this tournament in general, getting to play with just like a ton of like other high-level people?
Yeah, it's really cool. Right now, I get Gabriel round one,
Yeah.
Best senior in the world, and it was really cool to be able to take him down. Yeah, it's fun to get to play against really good players.
Yeah.
Is there anybody in particular that you're hoping to play against today?
I don't know. I'm pretty excited to get to play against most people here.
Sure.
Most people are pretty strong players, so.
I think we're
Yeah,
going to
I
have to
think
let you go
round
for the next
two,
round in just a second. I've
started,
got one
so-
more question.
Yeah.
So you said you're excited to play pretty much everybody. Is there anyone that you're hoping you don't play against?
If anyone's on Raging Ball, I don't want to hit them, but that's about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, again, congrats. Good luck in the rest of the tournament, and hopefully we'll catch up with you later.
All right, thank you.
And so, from Jeremy and myself, we're going to go ahead and jump off the couch here, make room for the other casters, and I think we'll be back here for round 2 shortly. Thanks for tuning in. Again, shout out to all of the sponsors for the event, and we will be back in just a moment.
Welcome back in, everybody, to the Masters Cup. Of course, we've traded off our casters here. Frosty Caribou with Kyle Sablehouse sitting very far apart from each other on this couch.
We've got something between us, and it's snarling at me.
It's a deck list. Welcome back in, everybody. We're still going through our Swiss rounds here. We're doing best of one, so it's a little faster pace than what you're used to. And we got some awesome players lined up for you as well.
Yeah, a little unbelievable here. We've got, in round number 2, Yoshiyuki Yamaguchi versus Tord Reklev. It is starting off with some absolute heat here at the Masters Cup. It's going to be 2 fantastic players, and we've got a new deck, which we've hinted at.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool just being here, Kyle. There's so much, has there ever been a time where there's just this much skill in one room here? There are so many talented players.
Yeah, I mean, the last time that we've had comparable moments to this where it's such a condensed field, it was the Top Cut Invitational, of course, but those were fields of just 8 players, maybe even 16 at some points, and we've got a whole array of players this time around. It's unbelievable, and from all the different regions, too. We have a great collective of worldwide talent here. It's really cool to be a part of. Yeah,
it was very awesome. It's been cool kicking it off here. Of course, it's very hot here, but that's just because, the heat of the decks, the skill level in this room, Kyle. It's been awesome so far here. Of course, we're in New Orleans right now, right before NAIC, so our players are bringing the heat, but they might not be bringing the sauce yet, but who knows, Are these decks, are these lists going to be what you're going to see come NAIC in just a few days?
Right. I mean, it is right around the corner. This is a great opportunity to test out some of those unique techs if you have them. If you just want to see if your deck runs, sure, go ahead and try it out. But there's a lot on the line here. These players want to be the Master Cup champion. And they've got an opportunity to do just that. Both players 1-0 right now. Yoshiyuki is definitely accustomed to doing this. He has played through many Champions League tournaments with a first place just 2 years ago in Niigata, second place 7 years ago at the same tournament. He's got a top 8 finish at the Champions League Yokohama in 2022. These are huge events. So give him an opportunity in a condensed field and see what he's made of. Yeah, we're talking best of one format as well, Yoshi. I'm sure very used to that. That's how they play over in Japan. And now we're kicking it off here. Best of one, of course, we're going to be seeing Tord Reklev on the other side, choosing to bring. Right now, you see the Charizard EX up there, but it has some Dragapult action in there as well. Of course, last round, Tord just faced off against Grimmsnarl, so is he going to be able to beat this again? We're going to see the strategy in this matchup, Kyle. Yeah, great competitor in Kieran Farah on the other side. Was able to take him down with the Marnie's Grimmsnarl deck. Now he's got an opportunity here against Yoshiyuki to do the same thing. Tord, we know what he's made of. He's got all of those international championships. He conquered the globe, and now he's got a chance to win the Masters Cup here too. He's done so well at the world stage with a finals finish, a top 4 finish. He's looking to build on that here at NAIC and now at this Masters Cup too. So it's a pretty great chance. He's got a pretty solid setup here as well. He's got the Cleffa active, free retreat, that Arven, and a few ways to search out Pokemon. Gosh. I mean, so nice here. Tord going second, able to play the supporter. What's better at this point than the Arven, getting out this Buddy Buddy Poffin, and as you see, the technical machine evolution. That's a big part of this as well, because then you can jump into all those evolution Pokemon right away. And then once Tord's able to kind of set up this board state, it's going to be hurting on the other side. Of course, Grimmsnarl, Marnie's Grimmsnarl, this is a brand new deck that we've now seen, just now, Kyle, casting over for the first time. But how's it going to fare against, a deck like this Dragapult Charizard that can take huge knockouts? Is it going to be able to withstand the resource race? What do you think? It's tough to say because Yoshiyuki has an opportunity with a full setup to include that Frost Blast, spread damage counters everywhere, and then really manipulate where the damage counters go with those multiple Monkey Dory, spread damage around, and maybe take some of those knockouts for 4 prizes, 6 prizes to try to close out games. But is he going to have that setup right now? We see a pretty weak setup here with the Impidimp, the Monkey Dory here too, and Tord on the other side. He's playing consistency routes. He has the Pidgeotto in there, and we see that searched out with the technical machine. Yeah, I mean, Tord is definitely one of those players you can count on the consistency. That is for sure. But
As you said, Kyle, Yoshi, kind of lackluster there, just with one little Impidimp. Of course, it's still holding on because Tord is furthering his own board with those evolutions now after that technical machine being played, getting those out. You know, usually Charizard suffered so much in a spread damage like format once Dragapult kind of came around the block because it could just pick off all of those low HP Pokemon. But Tord, with the consistency, might be able to hold out here. Yoshi, of course, trying to pick up his board over here with this Buddy Poffin off of the Arvin as well. We already have that Monkey Dory set up, and now we're going to see some Snow Runt and second Impidip hit the field.
Yeah, I'm really curious where you go from here, because what kind of setup do you have if you don't have the rare candy into the Grimmsnarl? You have to slow down. You have to potentially go into that technical machine evolution, play a turn behind as well. Just give Tord all of that momentum right back. Is that really where you want to be right now?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is one thing the Grimmsnarl can do. I mean, there's several Badoo in this list here. Oh no, Kyle!
I've got the
Kyle
prize cards.
He just got a sheet of paper with some prize cards. What are you looking at here?
Well, Yoshiyuki may have been tempted to go with a Badoo plan at some point.
Both of them prize.
But both
no
are prize?
Way! Oh
so
no!
that's already gone. No chance for that. I mean, of course, with this setup that you see here, maybe that's not the best route.
Right. Yeah.
So you're going to be comfortable. Instead, it's going for the Frostlass party in double time.
Ooh. All right, yeah, let's check this out here. We have both Frostlass out here thanks to that technical machine evolution on Yoshi's side. That means we're going to start ticking up these damage counters. It's 10 damage for each ability Pokemon in between turns on both sides of the field.
Yeah, that's really going to start to add up. We know there's a ton of abilities on Tord's side, and maybe he has to take that into consideration with when evolving into these spots. Do you jump straight into Pidgeot for that quick search, or do you wait until this is a turn where you can get an attack off?
Yeah, we're going to see the ticks on both sides. Of course, it's great for Yoshi, able to throw that damage over onto Tord's side. Of course, the Frostlass don't take their damage because they're Frostlass. That's their ability, so they're staying healthy and clean out here. Yeah. Tord now getting that Dragapult EX with a couple damage counters already on it onto the field, so he's got a little bit more HP to work with here now.
Yeah, before we jump too far into Tord's turn, we see Pidgey, Charmander, Blood Moon, Ursaluna, the rescue board, the Buddy Poffin, and the Professor Turo scenario in the prize cards. So the Professor Turo is the one that really is starting to pique my interest. Cleaning up all those hit points, denying those prize cards, that feels pretty clean.
Yeah, that could be real nice whenever you're playing against a deck that puts a lot of damage out. Being able to pick up, reset is always great, but we'll have to see how that comes into play here for Tord as we get another Charmander onto the field. Thanks to that Buddy Poffin. So restabilizing here with the Charmanders out.
Yeah, and we see just the one Pokemon with the search here. There's no need to overcommit in spots like this, especially when eventually you'll be tempted to play down some of those ability Pokemon. You just don't want to give up those prize cards and let more damage stack up on your board if you can avoid it.
So we see the Dragapult EX come down on the field. Of course, that's more hit points here. But now we're seeing that Luminous Energy being played. You know, Luminous Energy can go on the Dragapult. It can go on Monkey Dory as well in these decks. But here we see the energy be committed to this Dragapult EX. What do you think about this, Kyle?
That's enough. You know what? There's one thing that's Yoshiyuki's lacking right here, and it's that he decided to sacrifice a second Impidimp for the setup of that Frostlass, and he's going to lose this Pokemon right now.
Yeah, Jet Headbutt. It only takes one colorless energy, hits 70, but that's enough to take out that Impidimp now on Yoshi's side. So Tord's going to be down a prize card here into that Impidimp, and Yoshi's just going to have to.
How many abilities do you see on Tord's side?
0.
Oh, uh-oh, yeah.
No abilities to be seen here. Like, the Frostlass are essentially useless here besides adding damage onto Yoshi's own Monkey Dory between those turns. So we see the 40 stacked up here. It's going to be promoted into the active now. But yeah, Tord has completely avoided all of these abilities, taking those pings in between turns to just completely dominate the field here with one Dragapult EX and one Luminous Energy.
Wow. Yeah, there is an Impidimp in hand, so this Buddy Poffin isn't even searching out for full effect at this point, just missing out on another potential way to thin out this deck, maybe find some of those valuable resources. I do believe that there's the TM evolution still in hand, so maybe one of those slower turns where you can switch things up and jump into the Morgrim and have maybe one of those slower setups again, but you're just giving all that momentum right back over to Tord.
Yeah, I mean, you can slow set up in the beginning, when you don't have both your Badoos prized. But now it almost just feels like you're falling more and more behind, especially playing against a Charizard deck, which, I mean, that deck is known for having so much comeback in the later game, and now we're just seeing it take the lead here within this matchup that's even rougher.
Yeah, and, Tord has the failsafe. If the Dragapult is ever to fall at this point, you just move into your Charizard, and Burning Darkness is doing plenty of damage from that point forward to really start to dominate this board.
Well, we're seeing Yoshi trying to bail out here. Professor's Research, huge discard pile now as he gets 7 fresh cards to the hand. As you said, Kyle, we got 2 more Impidimp trying to hold on here on the board just so we could get some attackers out and not just be slinging around some damage counters.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing that's missing here is potentially to have a second Monkey Dory down. We already see the energy attachment there. Now we have the Monkey Dory, but the energy's been played down.
Yeah.
You're not going to have access to that at least this turn, but you're aiming for next turn anyways.
Yeah, that's the one beautiful thing about this Grimmsnarl deck. Usually, you get into the Grimmsnarl EX, you can punk up, use its ability to accelerate energy onto the Grimmsnarl, or even another Grimmsnarl, but then you have that extra play to the Monkey Dory. For your energy attachment for turns. So usually you have that, but we're seeing the energy having to be committed to this Impidimp on the bench here for Yoshi, which means we just have one lone monkey here, and then we're back over to Tord.
Are we going to rock out when we finally get a punk up on stream?
Punk up!
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'll headbang to that.
Yeah, you're looking like a punk today, Con.
In my polo?
Get punked up.
Wow. I've retired the faux hawk. It's not there anymore.
Oh, you should have done it for this.
Well, the desperate attempt here from Yoshiyuki. Understandable, though. You have to use that counter catcher. Try to slow down your opponent.
Right.
But, I mean, are you really expecting this to work right now? It's going to be a retreat. It slows down Tord a little bit, but I guess it also just depends on what the prize card was found. Because, I mean, if you found the rescue board here,
True.
You jump right into a Dragapult dealing tons of damage.
Yeah, you are cruising here for Tord. We'll have to see. Ultra Ball starting off the turn, throwing away a Buddy Poffin and a counter catcher of his own. Of course, counter catcher not needed right now. Tord's leading in the prize cards at the moment, but you can see kind of the build of this Charizard deck. It's honestly a very familiar deck. We've had it around for a while. It just hasn't really been seeing play. Do you think this is the optimal field for it to see play now, Kyle?
Yeah,
into a bunch of Grimmsnarls?
It's finding a great opportunity here for sure. This is a spot that you can really start to pick apart on opponents' board states. You have so many different attackers to focus on, and you have that built-in consistency. You're a great deck against Badoo engines, which have been so popular lately. You're a better TM deck than most other TM decks. You have a little more versatility, and just the fact that you're energy accelerating it here. I mean, we could see Tord very easily, quick search, rare candy Charizard.
Exactly.
Just accelerate those energies and start wiping out this board.
Yeah, and then you have the unfair stamp as the ace spec in there as well to just debilitate your opponent even more. I mean, it's kind of brutal. When it's up and it's working and it doesn't have damage counters taking out those little babies and kind of hurting their board state, if they have the stable Pokemon out there, then they're cruising, and that's exactly what you're seeing here from Tord. He's able to just go through these turns, align everything he needs. He's quick searching right now for any card in the deck off this Pidgeot EX, and then Arvin nets you 2 more cards. We see that TM Evo being searched out of the deck to just clean it out of the deck, add even better cards to your future draws, and an Ultra Ball for the item card.
Yeah, this is just clean. You know that you only need to search out certain Pokemon at this spot, so instead of going directly for a Charizard, you can go for Arvin into an Ultra Ball, discard a Technical Machine evolution that you never want to see again.
Right.
And then start to set up your board. Super Rod after retreating, so you have 2 more fires in your deck. Don't have to worry about running out of energies at any point for the rest of the game here. It's just really clean play. The one benefit here for Yoshiyuki, there's going to be a few abilities on that board this time around, but is it going to be enough to really start to stack up damage?
Yeah, the damage that was already out on the field, at least a little bit of it, now being swept off. Of course, another knockout here for Tord Reklev. One of those Monkey Dory is down. 40 damage on the other Monkey Dory that's been racking up thanks to both of these Frostlass out onto the field. Impidimp is finally in the active. It has an energy attach. We see the Spike Mooth
It's
for
home.
the stadium come out here. That's going to get us another Marnie's Pokemon into the hand for Yoshiyuki. But are we going to be able to finally see a Grimmsnarl, Kyle? That's what I want to know.
I want to know if Spike Mooth Gym has AC in it, because I'm ready to go over there.
Yeah, honestly. It is hot out here in New Orleans, that is for sure. But we see first lots of cards being played here. Yoshi, Professor researching once again. So we're not hurting for draw. We just need to get out some Pokemon. It's going to be the Morgrem searched off the Spike Mooth to get it out of the deck here. I mean, you gotta think there's some good cards in the hand for Yoshi for search out Morgrem, right?
I mean, it's either really good or really bad. You're either slowing down completely, or you already
No, we're
have
good. We're good.
rare candy
Rare
to
candy,
get things
baby.
rolling.
I'm ready to see it here. I want this Grimmsnarl to succeed. You know, we love seeing the new decks being played. Anything that can utilize up to 4 Monkey Dory in some of these decks has got to be pretty good here. But unfortunately, it's just being kind of run over by this Dragapult Charizard consistent deck here from Tord so far. Maybe that's just the the armor Tord has, right?
He carries a lot of plot armor, and it's working very well for him. But yeah, this is the spot where just not much is happening on the other side. We're just seeing small pings of damage
Adrenabrain,
over and
yeah.
over again.
Small pings here, the Adrenabrain on that Monkey Dory that has the dark energy to be able to shift it over to that Pidgeot EX. We're slowly stacking up here. That's 60 damage on the Pidgeot EX now for Yoshi, but no, that's it. Kyle's that the turn?
I
Just
mean,
a Morgrem on the bench, and that's it.
He
yeah.
just filched. You just draw a card.
My goodness. I mean, yeah, I guess that's another card here, but this is so tough to see. Yoshi still has all prize cards to be taken. 6 prize cards left here. Tord just a couple turns away.
Yeah, we're at a spot where Tord can really start to push his foot on the gas at this
Right.
point. Just every prize card means that much more. 70 hit points, so awkward to see. And I mean, we're seeing energies depleted too, left and right. Yoshiyuki's gonna run out of resources at some point.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, the resource game. Charizard has that on its side. I mean, these past turns we've seen Tord Reklev working through, he's just coming out with all his fail-safes. You saw the Super Rod for the energies back in deck. Make sure we can Infernal Rain some down. We're going to have tons of hit points on the board. You could still do spread damage with Dragapult EX. I mean, you have all the answers here from Tord Reklev. We're quick searching for whatever card we want, Kyle. We're having a good time.
Anything, yeah. This works out so well. And for Tord, I think one of the most important cards that he needs eventually in this matchup is still in the prize cards. If he finds that Professor Turos,
that Turo.
every prize that he draws, he is inching a little bit closer to healing potentially like 200 damage at some point in this game. And
Yeah, you got to think that's like a nail in the coffin.
devastating spot here. Tord's going to take a little bit of precaution here. Now play down the Charizard, have these energies ready to roll.
Love this.
Just means he's got 2 more attacks, free prize cards waiting for him, and damage is going to stack up.
Yeah, I mean, this is awesome here. The Charizard EX Infernal Rain ability. It has an ability. It'll take a couple damage pings in between turns, but look at this. What you get from it. You don't have to attach all the energy onto one Pokemon. You can spread it around your field. It doesn't even have to be a certain type of Pokemon. We see it on the Charizard EX. We see one on the Charmander, and we see that second
You get a fire
dedication
energy.
there.
You get a fire energy.
It's Oprah. Charizard EX is the new Oprah here. Throwing fire energy around this field. Dragapult now fully charged up to start some Phantom Dives. And we're seeing that attachment for turn 2 as well. That's 4 energies that have been accelerated onto the field here from Tord Reklev, all thanks to a Charizard EX after a nice little rare candy, Impy Dimp, and a Monkey Dory going down on Yoshiyuki's side.
Yeah, and this is where the damage output of Frostlass starts to nip you in the booty there. That's unfortunate that the Freezing Shroud actually knocks out the Monkey Dory in between turns, there. And you're losing even more resources, down 2 more prize cards at this point. It's starting to look a little dire.
That is so tough here. 2 prize cards down. Of course, this is best of 1, so this is all these players are going to go through in this match here. It's looking grim, but I mean, Dragapult fans.
Grim?
They're having a grim
Snarl?
snarl. I haven't seen one of those yet.
Yeah, I don't even know what deck this is. We see the A spec. It is not going to be unfair stamp. It's actually the
my
secret box. But,
goodness.
I mean, that's what everyone's playing in this deck. It's such a valuable
Yes.
resource, especially in the early game.
You can Arvin for secret box into everything you could possibly need. Unfortunately, we have not gotten to see that here from Yoshi. He has just been kind of just lacking everything in this matchup. We just see a Frostlass now being promoted, and we haven't even seen a Grimmsnarl EX yet come out. Of course, rescue board at least will help a little bit to add some pivot to this Frostlass.
Yeah, moving around, checking cards in hand, so it makes you think Iono potentially waiting for us in the wings, and there's a chance at a setup here, but that's what Tord was expecting. That's why you saw the big pop-off turn with the Charizard evolution. The energy spread all over, including a Charmeleon evolution. He knows that he might not have a big hand, but we are ready to snarl and punk up.
Here we go. We're punking up, Kyle. Yes. That ability, punk up, able to accelerate the energy. If you have them, it's
literally
just one.
the energy.
The energy.
This
Oh,
is what I'm talking about. It's,
out of resources here. Usually you can put 2 right onto that Grimmsnarl. Then you have the extra attachment onto
All
a
your
monkey.
monkey
You're
friends,
chilling.
yeah.
We do have one from the hand here onto the Grimmsnarl EX. That's going to be able to at least be, this Grimmsnarl can attack now. But for Yoshi, I mean, this is just,
I'm hurting for him.
yeah,
This is tough.
This is sad.
He's playing with half a deck over there. It's just-
No, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's honestly one of the things to Badoo being in the prize cards is horrible for this deck. Usually you can take a couple of turns in the early game and start to establish yourself here, but we just were not able to see that, unfortunately, because of those prize cards. And Yoshi hasn't even been able to take one at all this game. We see the Pidgeot EX from the boss's orders being promoted into the active
That'll
position
do.
here. Grimmsnarl, of course, it's able to also spread some damage onto Tord's field. Not just Dragapult EX out here spreading damage. We're going to see this Pidgeot be knocked out. That's going to be 2 prize cards thanks to that Grimmsnarl EX finally being in play here. What's his move called?
Shadow Bullet.
Oh my gosh. That is even cooler than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, who needs any of the other Night Spears? They're nonsense. Shadow Bullet is crazy.
No, Shadow Bullet, pretty awesome here. Of course, it does 180 base damage, and then also gets to put 30 onto your opponent's field as well.
Yep. So, I mean, finally, we see the Pidgeot fall. Some of the consistency starts to fall by the wayside, but what do you do from here? As Tord Reklev, you have an opportunity. Bring that Dragapult back up into the active spot. Monkey Dory's knocked out immediately, as you can deal the 60 to it, and the Frostlasses will clean it up. But here is the interesting issue. If you have boss's orders for game, it's not actually game. You would knock out a Frostlass, and Monkey Dory would be 10 short of a knockout.
Yeah, that is rough. I mean, I say it's rough, but also, like,
Calculated.
yeah, it is. It's very calculated. And that's what we're going to see from all these players here today. They're calculating all of this out. Even when you see Yoshi be in such a rough spot, he's still thinking out all of these scenarios to try to hang on as much as possible. And that's why we see every single little damage counter matters on both of our players' fields here. And I love to see that play here from Yoshi. I mean, I expect nothing less, honestly. What do you think Tord is going to do in this turn here, Kyle?
I mean, you want to continue to draw cards. Pheasantipity sounds like a great resource here. You have Ultra Ball to search that Pokemon out, see some more cards. The only downside, if you will, is if you're going to add a Pokemon that's easily knocked out onto the board here.
Right.
But if you expect to clean up this game in 2 turns now, then certainly you can get that done. And I don't see a 4-prize turn immediately waiting for you, especially with the lack of energies from Yoshiyuki.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of energy is horrible to see here from Yoshi. I mean, it's good if you're seeing from Tord's side the lack of energy because, you know, when it's the resource waste, you're always winning that. We're seeing the Pheasantipity come out off of that Ultra Ball to draw into even more cards potentially here for Tord. The little baby Cleffa able to just free retreat out of that spot. Nice little pivot there. We see the rescue board as well. That's even more safety here, giving pivot to the Pheasantipity EX when it comes down.
Yeah.
So you can't just be trapped there.
I'm a little worried about the Charmeleon hit points here. There's some issues you're running into with the Frostlass, so a Charizard evolution would be nice to see. Professor Turo is pretty cool.
We got it.
And thankfully gets to heal that Pokemon right back up.
Gorgeous. Yeah, we're worried about the Charmeleon, and now it's gone here. Just a Charmander after that Turo. Picks it up. Charmander placed back down next to Cleffa now because Dragapult EX being promoted into the active position. We're seeing tons of damage onto the field from Yoshi's side. And like you said, Tord able to put out that damage, not take it home, but he's in a pretty good spot here now, Kyle.
Yeah, that Turo was fantastic. You run into issues if you give up that free prize card there. The Cleffa could potentially fall. I mean, you bring up that Pheasantipity, the game ends. you knock out Pheasantipity and the Cleffa. That's 3 prize cards. Charmeleon was last turn too. It would have been bad. You couldn't have played that Pheasantipity. Instead, now has those resources. Sets up beautifully. And Yoshiyuki's stuck thinking, I got 240 on me. Can I get out of this?
Yeah, 240 damage on the Grimmsnarl EX. Of course, 320 for its total HP. Just 2 Frostlass lone on the field now for Yoshi. How do you get out of this, Kyle? What do? You just try to stall out?
You know, I don't have an answer.
We've already gone through so many cards in this deck here from Yoshi. We've seen multiple researches happen. The resources have been flying because Yoshi's just been trying to establish anything in this matchup so far. Here, Artisan's going to come out, replacing that Spike Moose gym. That's going to get us a basic Pokemon out here for Yoshi in the Monkey Dory.
Yeah, maybe.
Look at the deck, though. There's like nothing left, Kyle.
I mean, we lost the deck list, but maybe if there's TM Devolution, there's an opportunity. You could spread a little more damage if you have the energies for the Monkey Dory.
That would be
but,
sweet.
I mean, Tord kind of played around that, too. You see the Dracloak is 10 hit points away. A Charmander would be 10 hit points away as well. Boss's orders, Badoo locking the Charmander could be a way to buy yourself that additional turn, get the damage onto that Charizard, spread the damage onto that Dragapult, and then maybe next turn clean up with a TM Devolution. We could see something here. Just depends if Tord has a way to move this Pokemon, and he did commit the rescue board last turn.
Yeah, if we could just stall a little bit here for Yoshi, maybe he has some play as these damage counters continue to tick up here, thanks to those double Frostlass.
Was Charmander worth it? He didn't have to play it back down.
I was thinking that too because, it comes back to the hand off the Turo. You don't have to put it back out, but Tord chose to do that. Now it is stranded in the active position. He has no way to get it out of there.
Oh, no.
It's got 40 damage on it.
He's playing too slow. I don't know if there's an energy. I don't know if there's an energy here.
There's no way. Okay, we see 1 in the discard. I mean, there's a lot committed to the board.
There's 8 in the deck, and I believe 1 was prized. Not sure if it was drawn at this point. We've seen 5 already in our eye line right now, but I mean, we're talking about some issues with the amount of cards left in deck. It's a low hand size. Top deck was his A spec, so you can't use that. Unfair Stamp's doing nothing.
Yeah, this is tough, and it's already got 40 damage on this Charmander.
He just took the tick.
Too.
Oh man. Oh, now I need to know.
Oh, taking the ticks.
Is there a technical machine devolution in the deck?
Double ticks on both of these Pokemon thanks to those Frostlass. That means we're back
we're
over
searching
to Yoshi's
out. We might find
side.
out right here, right now. Arvin, it's
right
at the bottom
there.
of the deck.
The Devolution. We got the TM. The Evolution's green. The Devolution is pink here.
Yep.
Pink for some extra spice. This is another thing this deck can do. Play the Devolution, put enough damage counters to line up a big Devolution play, and then once those big Evolution Pokemon pop off, if you have enough damage on the smaller Evolution Pokemon, they're knocked out. We could see multiple prize cards go down here for Yoshi.
This is huge, and maybe this is what the Charmander does for you. You have that Pokemon on the board. You wouldn't be Badoo locked at this point. You could Rare Candy into Charizard and try to win the game from that point. So we can see what Tord was trying to do with that play, but I mean, he was just caught. The Badoo came out of nowhere, surprised him, and now there's this opportunity for Yoshiyuki to take this knockout here. He can move the damage with the Monkey Dory over to the Dragapult.
All the evolutions.
And both those Pokemon are picked back up.
Right.
He's just a little bit short of being able to incorporate the Charmander into the math, so he has to pass through. But actually, you're fine, because the Dracloak gets pulled back up, and then the Frostlass damage is put in. He's got 3 knockouts here this turn, but he's just short of taking a game win here.
I mean, that's pretty much the biggest
I like
comeback
this,
I've
yeah.
ever seen, though, Kyle. I'm not going to lie here. We see the counter catcher now, Pheasantipity
Oh,
coming
he's
up.
got
Are
the
you
counter
serious?
catcher. It's just it. He just takes the win. Pheasantipity and Cleffa knocked out. He doesn't even need the devolution. He's
You're right.
got it.
That's
Wow.
it. Oh, my gosh. Wait. That's absolutely bananas. The counter.
Tord flashes the Blood Moon. He was ready. If it was just a TM devolution, he had him. But Yoshiyuki had the counter catcher. Ooh.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay. He's also putting the Devo out there.
Yeah, he's
now.
saying
He's saying, I was
this
gonna
was
do-
the plan
this
the whole
was
time,
it.
and then I realized, I just win.
I just have the
Winning
counter
is
catcher.
better.
Yeah, of course, behind in the prize cards, able to use that counter catcher. The Pheasantipity that we talked about, Kyle, being that liability out on the
Sure
field.
enough, it is.
Comes up. That's the last 2 prize cards there. I cannot believe. I think that is one of the best comebacks I've seen in a long time,
It's
Kyle.
So cool to see. Yeah, I'm sure Tord's a little frustrated about the Charmander. I know the line. I see what you're going for there. You have that answer, but he just was just caught there. Did not have the energy to get out of that mess.
I mean, that was an incredible game, of course, between 2 absolute titans here. And it was going one way the whole time. I mean, we were talking this entire time, Kyle, about Tord, the consistency of this list, all of the tricks it has in his bag. I mean, it was incredible, but of course, we have only one winner from that matchup,
Yeah.
and it's going to be Yoshi this time around. Let's hear from Yoshi after this win here. Yeah, let's give you a mic.
Hello, welcome.
Yeah, nice to see you. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
What a game. That was unbelievable.
Yeah. So Frostless make damage to have a ability Pokemon.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I think Technical Devolution
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
that's
is
what we're
the main plan
So
to do that. Yeah, but use counter catcher and knock out Pheasantipity and Cleffer
Yeah?
to take prize for prize at one turn. Yeah.
So cool. This-
Yeah.
You had the 2 Badoo in the prize cards.
Oh, yeah.
You're a little nervous
You know.
going into that with 2 in the prize cards.
Nobody do.
Is that normally a part of your game plan, using the Badoo?
Yeah, maybe. Use evolution to make my board flossless or what's that? Manis, Grims,
Yeah, the
Grimmsnarl.
Grims. Yeah. So yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. It seems like the Badoo is a really great mid-game play.
Yeah.
Catch your opponent,
You
counter
know.
catcher, slow down.
Yeah.
What did you think when you saw Charmander played back down after Turo?
Yeah. It's so long game.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, but. Yeah.
It's helpful. You saw
Yeah.
you found an opportunity where
Yeah,
not
yeah,
many
yeah.
players would see it. It was a
Right.
really great play to see.
Yeah.
What was it like to play against Tord Reckless?
I'm fun. I'm fun. Yeah, I'm for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's excellent. It was
Yeah.
so great to watch. Of course, you have so many great accomplishments.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying playing here in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Good.
So there is many people who won many tournaments. So I'm so excited and I'm fun. So fun. Thank you for your tournament. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Are you excited for NAIC?
Yeah. Of course.
You think this is going to help you prepare for NAIC matches?
Yeah. So yeah. So glad to play here.
Yeah.
So and I'm completely prepared to NLC.
Good.
Yeah,
Are
it's
you-
good.
Awesome.
Do you want to play this deck?
Oh,
Marty's Grimmsnarl?
maybe,
Okay.
maybe,
No leaks. No leaks.
maybe.
What do you think the matchup is like going against Charizard?
Oh,
Were you worried about it?
Yeah. It's good, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
It was fun to see the
Yeah, I mean,
damage
you
start
took
to
down
pile
Tord.
up.
Yeah.
The setup was not ideal, but you turned it into something incredible. It was a really fun game to watch. And
Yeah.
we're excited to watch you throughout the rest of this tournament.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, well, good luck in your next matches.
Yeah, good luck. Thank
yeah,
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That was awesome.
Oh, I love this. This is a great experience here. Are we on? Oh, are we on? Hello?
Break. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Masters Cup here in New Orleans. It's going to be a great round 3 matchup here. I'm Kyle Sablehouse. Here with me, my co-caster, Mr. Aaron Curry. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's nice to share the couch with you, man. I know we used to play a lot together back in the day. It's nice to be back here with you at the Masters Cup. And like you said, we've got a great game lined up here. Rowan Stavenau versus Diego Casaraga.
Yeah, unreal. 2 world champions. Rowan's in a younger division, but you know what? We'll take that because this is some unbelievable talent here. 2 great decks as well, and they are off. And look at this. 30 hit points for both players to get the ball rolling.
Big swings coming in for sure. Absolutely, we'd see that. But do on Clef action.
Yeah, this is 2 great Pokemon to start with. Really depends what we'll see with the rest of the hands. But the Ultra Ball here from Diego with a great discard here in those Psychic Energies. He is playing the Gardevoir EX deck.
Yep, so key obviously want to get those energy in the discard pile right away so we can utilize that Psychic Embrace to power up all of our attackers, get that damage on board for the Monkey Dory, Adrenabrains, and just doing massive damage with either that Scream Tail or Drifloon potentially.
Now, we did get a look at the prize cards before the game started, and for Diego, he's got a couple of those energies in the prizes. 1 Psychic, 2 of the likely 3 Dark Energies there, an Artisan, Night Stretcher, and an Ultra Ball. So keep in mind those prize cards as we're playing the game. It's not going to have access to those until we see some prizes taken.
Yep, and so we do see just a customary prize search happening here. Diego trying to piece together himself what those prize cards are. And with the 2 Dark Energy prized, until some of those are retrieved, we can only see 1 Monkey Dory utilized at maximum. Could make things a little bit more difficult as Gardevoir likes to have a couple of those in play, utilizing those multiple Adrenabrain abilities to scatter damage around the board.
Yeah, we know how these decks love to start to stack up the damage. For Diego, though, he's going to be content with just the Ralts in play, the Scream Tail as well. Got a decent setup to work with here. I'm curious what the rest of the hand entails. Maybe we'll see Gardevoir soon. But for Rowan, he has that Dreepy, he has Badoo, and we see a supporter in hand too. So it looks to be a pretty solid opener.
And so from Diego's perspective, maybe he doesn't realize that Rowan's actually playing the Dragapult Charizard variant here. Something we saw on last round from Tord as well. Seems to be a pretty powerful deck and able to kind of counteract the weakness that we've seen in Dragapult into Gardevoir, specifically utilizing Charizard as a very powerful late-game attacker to overcome the weakness that you would otherwise have with that Lily's Clefairy on board.
Now, we might not see as much consistency as we did with Tord Reckless List, with the removal of that Pidgeot EX, and instead going for a little more of the consistency in the supporter engine, maybe more of a focus on that Drac Cloak to draw some additional cards with Recon Directive. But Rowan is in for some of the worst news he's heard in a long time. This price check is terrible, Aaron.
Yeah, we saw 3 Luminous Energy over there?
Yes. There's only 4. Thankfully, he plays the 4 copies because that's not so standard. We've been seeing a lot of players going with the 3. He's got that 1, but he has to find it. He has no way to directly search it.
Yeah, without that Pidgeot, it's going to be a lot more difficult to find that card, right? But, maybe Rowan knew he was going to prize 3 of them. That's why he's got 4 of them in the list. It had to be specifically for this scenario.
Calculated. He's ready for it. Well, maybe he didn't prepare for this then, Aaron. The rest of the prize cards, Nest Ball, double Dracloak.
Well, again, we got 4 Dracloak in the list. We're okay with prizing a couple of them.
Okay.
Not much more. And so we do see the bench filled here. So there's going to be no space for Shaman to come down. Notably, actually, Rowan does not have Shaman in his list.
Okay, well, maybe with the inclusion of multiple rare candies, that's something you see with the Charizards. There's a chance to sneak in an early Dragapult at some point. We did see the energy attachment. We see the Itchy Pollen. And now for Diego, he has that Professor's Research to build up and see a nice big hand here.
And we do also see the Bravery Charm going down on the Cleffa, wanting to protect itself from a Phantom Dive damage counter placement later in the game. And, with that Itchy Pollen, we're not going to see a Rare Candy Gardevoir, of course. And this is also, the evolved Gardevoir, the post-rotation Gardevoir. We don't need multiple Ralts in play. We're not looking for those refinement Curlias anymore. Just trying to find the space to get 1 Gardevoir established. Maybe in this matchup, we do want to make sure we have the backup available for the second one. But simply a Grasping Draw to fill back up to 7.
Yeah, not much else needed here. It's a little bit of a risk when you only have that singular Ralts in play. Diego unable to find some additional help there from the research. Maybe finding some help with the one card, but this is an opportunity for Rowan. He found his TM evolution through Arvin. He can search out those other Dracloaks.
Yep, very powerful indeed. So even though 2 of those Dracloaks are in the prize cards, the TM evolution would be able to help utilize the ability to find those stage 1 evolutions from the deck and get himself into the other copies. But we did also see an Ultra Ball discarding that TM Evo instead to find that singular Dracloak.
Now, Aaron, is this a matchup where you feel comfortable putting your foot on the gas, getting aggressive, and attacking into the active Pokemon in this spot? Or would you like to see Rowan go with a slower approach here and build up his board?
You know, I think it kind of depends on the read that Rowan would have on Diego's hand, right? We do only see the 1 Ralts on the board. I think we'd like to take things nice and slow here until maybe we can take that Ralts off the board and prevent that Gardevoir from coming in play for as long as possible.
Well, we will see just that. It's a simple attachment, Dracloak, and Bidoof Itchy Pollen to get the ball rolling here. Nice and slow, but maybe that's what needs to be done. For Diego, did finally find a helpful supporter. It seems like Professor Research would be able to do just that, but it did not. And he does have the Arvin this time for TM Evolution.
And we'll have to see if Diego has the energy necessary to utilize that evolution attack. And even then, it's a relatively slow turn here coming in. Only getting a single Kirlia into play, not the ideal scenario. Would love to have a second Ralts on the bench there to get multiple Kirlia on the board, protect and bolster that bench as much as possible.
Yeah, great point. This is not optimal at all, just the single evolution here. And this is a point where you have to think Rowan has something up his sleeve. Already a Dracloak in play, could evolve that Pokemon, maybe find one of those boss's orders to take a knockout on Kirlia. There's a lot of potential here on this turn.
Yeah, I think some of the difficulty we're going to see, with those Luminous prized, it's going to be difficult to utilize Dragapult as an attacker. Rowan instead looking to eye up the rare candy, probably into Charizard here, maybe get that Infernal Rain into play to get the fire energy. But with the Arvin played, we won't see a boss this turn.
Yeah, well, the guarantee of the Charizard EX means that Burning Darkness is available. Yeah, as you mentioned, those Luminous energies, that's going to be pretty devastating. Diego might be a little confused with the attacker of choice here as we move forward.
Well, and I think for Rowan, you also feel a little bit safer going with this. You're knocking out the Drifloon, which is the thing that's a bit scarier for the Charizard. You also see a Bravery Charm already on the bench on the Cleffa, so that's one less Bravery Charm available for a one-hit KO to come in from a Drifloon. But instead, we just saw that Itchy Pollen.
Yeah, slowing things down. Maybe this is a spot where you feel a little more comfortable just building up that Charizard, almost encouraging your opponent to play down that Gardevoir so that you can try to take a big knockout there.
Yeah, it's just got to be a big warning flag, right? I mean, as the Gardevoir deck, you need to get Gardevoir in play to really do anything. I do, actually, going back to Diego's previous turn, I like the promotion of the Drifloon. Drifloon's a Pokemon that likes having damage on itself. If Diego absolutely needed to, could simply attach another Psychic Energy and could Balloon Burst this Bidoof for 30 damage and get it out of the way.
Yeah, it's not too bad. There's opportunities. Anytime you can remove this Bidoof, you can give yourself an opportunity to play some of these item cards, and we've seen how devastating that can be. You just hold on to a hand of unplayable cards and give your opponent a little too much time. If you have to do it with Drifloon, so be it.
Yeah, and, realistically, Drifloon's a card that Diego would like to save for later in this matchup. Try to take those big one-hit KOs on those two prize Pokemon on Rowan's side. And instead, recognizing that, maybe he doesn't want to put the second energy to do Balloon Burst, could just slap the Bidoof instead.
Opportunity certainly there for that. But we do see Screamtail promotion. The energies are available now with the Gardevoir in play, using Psychic Embrace, loading up the Screamtail, and maybe we could see a snipe attack. We don't see any bench barrier shenanigans.
Yep, Diego does not seem to be concerned with Bidoof anymore, was able to find that Gardevoir. I'd be wary of taking a knockout here with the Screamtail, though. You don't, you open yourself up to Counter Catcher, makes that Gardevoir a nice juicy target on your bench, but I guess maybe Diego doesn't have other options in mind and just wants to instead take that Dracloak out, take one of those energy off the board, importantly, make it a little bit more difficult for a Dragapult to come into play.
Yeah, almost a bait accidentally by Rowan. There was no threat of this Pokemon as an attacker, realistically, without opportunities to find those Luminous energy, and we see that option now removed from play. Dracloak right back down due to Night Stretcher, which also is optimal for Rowan, as he didn't have access to searching that Pokemon out in other regards, and now really looking for an opportunity to bring that Gardevoir into the active spot.
Yep, so we see the Recon Directive here. wants to find specifically Countercatcher. You know, Boss is obviously also accessible, and like a lot of these Dragapult lists are nowadays, Rowan is rocking 5 total Gust cards, so the odds are not too terrible to find it here.
Yep, great chance to do that. I mean, the play from Diego is also strong. He gave himself an opportunity to have an attacker while trying to set up a Ralts again if worst case scenario happens with the Gardevoir. But this is a slow play from Rowan, already using Recon Directive and now using Iono. He needs to find some help here, and it has to be with the Countercatcher.
So, doesn't look like it hit the hand there. We do have an Ultra Ball, could find another Dracloak, maybe look at another couple cards. But
you ever dig with some Pheasantipity? There's dangers there.
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned before, Diego kind of set himself up for success here. We have the 60 damage on the Screamtail. So even if the Gardevoir does get knocked out, you can at least respond in kind and take a knockout on another bench Dracloak on the following turn. So it's kind of trying to assess which threat do I need to go for right now.
Well, it looks like the threat is the active Pokemon, whether Rowan likes it or not. But he does find a little more help. The evolution of the Charmeleon, now with a secondary threat. Just an evolution away at this point. Does not have to worry about the energies. They will fly right back onto the board. And we will see a knockout on this Screamtail unless there's some sneaky cards in that hand.
No, it's got to be, there has to be a Charizard here, right? It's too slow of a turn to go with an Itchy Pollen. You're just adding more damage to that Roaring Scream from the Screamtail, setting up those Dracloaks to hit the discard pile for your opponent. I mean, maybe even the Charmeleon, honestly. It's probably a bigger threat in this matchup at the end of the day. But we do find that one of Luminous.
Whoa. Okay, hang on. And I think we saw Dragapult too, but actually it's not there yet. Yeah, this is the evolution was this turn. It's Dragon Headbutt time. There's some unique ways to deal 70 damage in this format. That's one of them.
And I honestly don't dislike this either. Like, we do lose the Luminous if our Dracloak gets knocked out, but it's also only a single price.
Right.
So it definitely could be worse. Diego probably doesn't mind this scenario either, though, because he was already on odd prize cards.
Yeah, this is an easier Pokemon to knock out. Diego doesn't have to go digging nearly as hard to find the answer here. Drifloon easily takes this Pokemon off the board if he does not have too many options. And for Rowan, this is fine as well. This walks right back into Countercatcher territory, and we'll have to see where Diego wants to go from here with the promotion of Gardevoir.
Absolutely, and importantly, Diego does have access to items this turn. So all of those cards that were clogging the hand before, unfortunately, did go to the bottom of the deck with the Iono, but any items that he did redraw will be available to him.
Well, he's going to take a peek. He found Earthen Vessel and gets to stare at all of those items he never got to play. Hey, guys, how you doing? Not great.
So we do see 2 Psychic grabbed here. Importantly, did have access to the Dark, but maybe doesn't have access to that Monkey Dory quite yet.
Yeah, maybe that starts to play into how you use these cards. Has to search out the Psychic energies first time around, and we'll see maybe a late game Monkey Dory, but those prize cards really hindering at this point. Diego still likely with 2 of those in the prizes.
Yeah, the important thing here is going to be just the management of the Bravery Charms at the end of the day. Diego's going to have to make sure that the resources are saved so that that Charizard can be KO'd in one hit at some point.
Well, we know there's 2 more available in the deck. I believe it's a 3 count, so you have that opportunity to build on that and maybe have one big Drifloon play and follow that up with another. Just depends. We've seen so often Gardevoir comes out of nowhere with the perfect answer. And this time we see Monkey Dory played down after the research, so do we find that Dark Energy at some point?
Yeah, this is one of the scenarios I really wish we had a hand cam available, you know.
We see a little. I saw a TM evolution. Come on, Aaron.
Well, that is not a Dark Energy.
Is that helpful?
No. In this spot, no.
Okay, well, if Monkey Dory ever evolves, I'll get back to you.
You could play a Drifblim.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, we will see additional energies played out. This is a typical play you see from Gardevoir players. They want the damage on their side of the board. They add it up on the Gardevoir, but there's no Dark Energy to move it right back off. So damage will stick around, and I suppose if they were ever to stay on a Pokemon, it'd be one that's already knocked out by a Charizard.
Right, yeah. You definitely don't care about the added damage sitting on the Gardevoir. You know, in other Dragapult matchups, like maybe the Dusknoir one, you would be concerned about those added damage counters. But here, you're okay. Again, Charizard, obviously when hit KOs you, thanks to that Dark weakness, so you're fine with that 40 damage hanging around. And instead, we saw the recovery of the Screamtail with another Roaring Scream taking out that Dracloak.
All right, well, from here, starting to worry a little more about what Rowan is capable of.
Yeah, at some point, Rowan's got to step on the gas with that Charizard, right? You can't just hide it on the bench forever.
Well, you need to find a way to bring up that Gardevoir, right? We got to put some pressure on this, and it's an Iono again. Just does not have the boss's orders to get this rolling. He's got Drew Cloak to find 2 more chances if he doesn't already have the counter catcher.
Nope, not quite
Oh,
yet. So it's
wow.
just one of those things. Every one of these Ionos gets Rowan ever so much closer to that card. All the cards stack up on the bottom of the deck, pushing the counter catcher closer and closer to the top. We'll have to hopefully find it eventually, but instead we're probably going to see a shuffle here after this Ultra Ball.
Yeah, and I mean, this leads to the Pheasantipity. You get a couple more cards moved around. Maybe you can find some more help here, but this seems pretty desperate at this point. If you play down this Pokemon, you know exactly what you're looking for. Would you like to see Recon Directive before the benching here?
I would honestly prefer the Fez first, so you get a better informed decision off of that Recon Directive. You knew what 3 cards you draw already. It allows you to decide what you want to select instead. And I think that might nope, rare candy. Darn. I saw the item card. I thought it was a counter catcher, but nope, just out of reach. And with that Fez, Rowan tried to avoid putting it on the bench for as long as possible. Did not want to have that liability hanging out. And especially with something like Screamtail around and damage counters already available to move over, we could pretty easily see a Roaring Scream knockout on the Pheasantipity.
Well, we aren't seeing the greatest answers here from Rowan. Just unfortunate, missing out again and starting to hesitate a little here as well. I don't know if you can afford to Itchy Pollen here. That does not feel great.
No, you absolutely cannot. I mean, you open the door for Diego to just attach a Dark, move some damage over, and take a KO on that Pheasantipity and kind of put the game out of reach for Rowan.
That's the danger, is you play down these Pokemon. Yes, they're so helpful using the Pheasantipity ability, drawing those additional resources with Flip the Script, trying to find the answer, and when you miss, you leave liabilities in play. Charizard has to take an abysmal knockout on the active Pokemon. Yes, it's a prize card, but you are walking into a bear trap on the other side.
And I like this promotion from Diego. We don't want to stack too much damage up on our Gardevoir. We don't need to promote it in Psychic Embrace to get more damage available. We do have the free retreat of the Cleffa. The 4 damage counters are already on the bench to move when we need to. We've only got the single Monkey Dory in play. Maybe we found a Dark Energy off the prize cards.
Yeah, there's potential there, and I mean, regardless, there's only potential for 1 Adrenaline Brain this time around. There's no additional setup there. You get your 1 Dark Energy for the turn if you're lucky. So moving that damage around, then you're just looking to deal 300. Aaron, I know one good way to do that. Is there a chance that Drifloon could get busy?
Yep, and there we go. And we do see the Bravery Charm found. We have enough Psychic Energy available in the discard pile. And thanks to that Itchy Pollen damage counter from much earlier in the game, Diego doesn't even need the Monkey Dory to do the 330 here.
Yeah, that is pretty great. The hand doesn't even need to help out. We've seen really unique ways to get that additional damage counter on the board, but sometimes your opponent just gives it to you, and that feels even sweeter.
Yeah, and it was the scenario where Rowan really couldn't avoid doing that. Diego made a very intelligent decision, pushed the Drifloon up to use that TM evolution instead of utilizing it with Cleffa, and just took that 10 damage. Didn't necessarily know that it was going to be super instrumental throughout the game, but it definitely didn't hurt.
Lines up so well, and Diego, once again, using all of his resources so optimally, finds both Dark Energies, has the opportunity to include the Monkey Dory. If he wants to spread a little damage, he could knock out a Badoo if he really wants to take additional resource prize cards. If it's not that far out of reach to then just have a Screamtail knockout on a small Pokemon to close out.
Yeah, I think I'd still like to see Diego just kind of hold off for a little bit. You don't want to get yourself Iono'd to 1 here. Instead, you just take out the Charizard, you maybe move the damage to something like the Pheasantipity or maybe the other Charmeleon on the bench to set up a future Charizard for being KO'd, and just give yourself the best opportunity to win on the following turn.
I think the one thing this does for you is maybe you avoid walking into Blood Moon Ursaluna plays, but there's not a real great target for a Blood Moon Ursaluna. I feel like whatever your opponent promotes in this spot, you're fairly comfortable with.
Yep, and then the other kind of important thing, we're taking all the energy off the board here.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of fire energy go to the discard pile. Rowan would need to find his copy of Super Rod to really make a play happen on this turn. And instead, we're just going to see an Artisan. Interestingly,
Rowan wants the Badoo.
Please,
Come on, take
please.
it. Take it.
It goes right here. It has exactly 30 HP.
It's so tempting. Oh, he missed. Misclick. No, it's fine.
Unlike TCG Live, I think Rowan would have let Diego take that back.
I'm sure he would. And we see the second Monkey Dory. This makes you feel so much more comfortable here. You know that even if your opponent does target a Monkey Dory, if they can knock out this Drifloon with some damage play and then knock out Monkey Dory, you have a way to still move that damage over to the Badoo and knock it out on the following turn.
And so we saw the 3 counters go to the Dreepy specifically. I think Diego is trying to set up for if Rowan just evolves this into a Dracloak, you still only need to move 6 damage counters over to it to knock it out. Rowan does play Rare Candy, could get that card out of reach by just going straight into a Dragapult, but then he wouldn't have access to that powerful Recon Directive ability on the Dracloak instead.
Yeah, it adds up so well. You also have the opportunity to go with that final Drifloon if you need to take the big knockout, 320 down to 290. Don't have to worry about some additional math help. So a few different things that help you out here as Diego sees that he is on 2 prize cards remaining. Rowan is going to take a look, sees about 10 to 12 cards left, and he's going to take a quarter of those right now with his Fezandipity.
I think Rowan's looking for a specific combo here, too. We saw the Unfair Stamp taken off of that Recon Directive. We could be looking for a counter catcher on the Gardevoir. Rowan does play Monkey Dory in this deck. If he does have access to a Luminous Energy, we could see that Adrenabrain move the counters back over, knock out the Drifloon, jamming tower.
Very nice. Removing the additional hit points from the Bravery Charm, almost with a double dip there. Cleffa 10 short of another knockout, but pretty great play to see. Didn't get to line it up with the Unfair Stamp, so some questions there as to if he can get the full effects. We'll see how he wants to use these cards now.
Well, the stamp is still in hand.
Sure.
We can see it come down. We saw the Charizard hit the board. Looks like only 1 fire was in the deck. There's the Luminous.
Luminous to Charizard doesn't feel great, but you know what? It still attacks.
And interestingly, discarding a boss here.
Ooh,
oh, no, Rowan's going for game. We got
orders.
the counter catcher on the Gardevoir.
Yes!
With that jamming tower, the Cleffa goes down thanks to Hawlucha, and Rowan Stavino pulls back what looked like an unwinnable game.
Unreal. Sure enough, counter catcher so nasty. Bravery Charm locked out. Hawlucha 10 damage to that Cleffa. Huge knockout on the Gardevoir and cleans this thing up. That is wild to see. But all the prize cards falling just like that.
Yeah, all in Rowan's favor, too. It was one of those situations where Diego couldn't disrupt Rowan's hand enough to keep him out of the game.
Yeah, I think this is just so great to see from Rowan using that Hawlucha. It's reminiscent of his world champion deck, using the sneaky bite placements of the Golbats and the Crobats of old, giving him an ability to just put a little damage counter here, little there, and close out a game on a world champion. You know he likes that.
Absolutely. And it's just that 1 damage makes all the difference in the world. We saw it with the Drifloon. We saw it, obviously closing the game with the Hawlucha. You can't really ask for more sometimes than just 1 single damage counter.
It worked out perfectly there. It's the double-edged sword of playing these so helpful Pokemon. They only have 30 hit points, but Cleffa helps you draw out of all these bad spots. Badoo helps you lock out opponents and slow them down. Those prize cards were all there. Diego easily was down to 1 prize card remaining and would close out on the following turn, and Rowan, with just a little bit of time left, that 1 turn to get the ball rolling, found the exact answer he needed.
And it's one of those things where I'm not even sure if there was anything Diego could have done to stop it.
Honestly, yeah. Maybe if you could move the damage off of the Cleffa, you'd feel better, but you're running into some trouble all over the place.
Right. Right, specifically. In this Dragapult Charizard deck's really interesting. We have Rowan Stavino joining us on the couch now.
My goodness, Rowan. Did you think you had that going into those early turns when you saw your prize cards? Because what was happening there?
Yeah, on my opening deck search, that was definitely concerning. But I am mostly on a Charizard game plan in this matchup, and especially when Diego only put down 1 Gardevoir, no backup Ralt, right? Charizard, kind of my optimal attacker, so it works out. I'd rather prize all my Luminous than all my Charizard, right?
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
We saw you kept having to use Iono in that mid stage of the game. You're trying to draw into some help. Were you trying to go after the Gardevoir right there, removing that? Probably felt pretty good, but you just could not find counter catcher?
Yes. I Ultra Balled 1 away. At the time, it felt like the right decision. In hindsight, it probably wasn't. But yeah, I was looking for counter catcher the whole time, trying to find Arven's. Even Boss's Orders would have been a great resource there as well, but I just kept drawing Ionos, and I had to do weird attacks. I got Jet Headbutt. I was actually lucky to get my 1 Luminous that turn to kind of keep the tempo of the game. But yeah, I definitely wanted to kill that Gardevoir EX.
So we've made it through 3 rounds of this event now. Have you played against any interesting decks so far or seen any interesting decks in the rest of the room?
Well, round 1 I played against Fabi and Pujol.
Okay.
I think that's how I say his name. Sorry if I butchered it, but he was playing Garchomp. And
Cynthia's Garchomp.
Cynthia's Garchomp, and I'm not sure how serious he was about Cynthia's Garchomp, but he said that he thought nobody was going to be playing Raging Bolt here, which I think was a good assumption. And he said his deck got destroyed by Raging Bolt.
Sure.
It felt like a good matchup for my Dragapult deck, though, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that works out too well.
Yeah.
And so that was round 1. What about round 2?
Round 2, I faced a Japanese player. I forgot his name, I'm sorry. But he was playing Grimmsnarl. And he went for an interesting strategy against me where he actually didn't set up any Frostlass. And I thought that was to his detriment.
Yeah.
Regardless, his setup was not good, and I probably would have beat him anyways. I got him with an Iono at some point, but yeah, and then I'm here, and I think that was my craziest game so far. That the closing combo was super cool. I actually didn't see the 4-prize play until I searched my deck with Infernal Rain, and then I saw the Hawlucha, kill the Cleffa, get all 4, and that felt pretty good.
Yeah, I immediately drew a tangent to your world champion deck and using sneaky bites and having fun with that. So
yeah.
does it start to feel like that? I mean, even just a little taste of it with Hawlucha has to feel pretty nice.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of similar to Landy Bats. Phantom Dive Hawlucha, right? Snipe the bench.
Yeah,
abilities, attacks.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back.
Are you gonna grow the hair out again? Or are we gonna have the,
maybe.
the
Should I?
flowing locks?
Yeah.
I'd love
maybe
to
the
see
man
it.
bun. We could get that going on. I don't know.
I mean, I have to say I'm a little disappointed that you aren't playing Hop Zacian with Rocket's Crobat, though.
I know, that
Ooh.
would be perfect. Literally Landy Bats,
literally
right?
the same deck. Probably not as powerful.
Unfortunately-
things have a bit more HP now.
Yeah, I do like winning, and
tough,
I don't think
You're pretty good at it. I mean, you're 3-0 right now. There's a lot of great talent out there. Is there anyone or any deck you're a little worried about playing against?
Not particularly. If anyone's playing straight Dragapult, I think that's really bad for me.
Sure.
The Dusknoir variant is a little worrisome, but I think it's okay. Yeah, I think my deck's actually really well-rounded. I maybe don't want to hit Drew Hedrick. He's playing Joltik Box.
Yes,
Which
yeah.
I don't think I'm very good against either.
Well,
Yeah.
we saw a round 1 win from him, so we'll have to keep up and see how Andrew's doing throughout the rest of the tournament. We'll be following along with you as well. Is there anyone you want to shout out before we maybe see you on stream for top 8? Come on.
So many people. First of all, I'll give a shout out to my sponsor, Kansan Games. If you're from Canada, the Toronto area, great place to play. Also give a shout out to Cutter Tap. I put articles out on there. Endgame sleeves as well. I use those. Those are great sleeves. What else do I got to say here? I mean, shout out to Hunter for putting on this event and everyone involved. You guys as well for being here. It's a lot of fun to play against some great players right before NAIC. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, man, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, we've got so much tournament left to go, but we're going to be keeping up with you, seeing how you're doing, and we will be back soon with some round 4 action. So do not go anywhere.
Peace.
Welcome back in, everybody. Let's set the stage here. We got Frosted Caribou on the mic here with Jeremy Jallin as well. It's a hot day in New Orleans, and we have some of the best Pokemon trading card game players all concentrated in one cute little brewery. As you can see, we got some beer barrels behind us, Jeremy.
It's definitely a hot day and even hotter action here. There is some of the best players in the Pokemon TCG here for this Masters Cup Invitational, and it has been so great to watch so far. And some of our players now 0-3 went home. Alex Szymanski, unfortunate, but
What was he playing?
he was playing Poison Moon.
Okay.
Kind of was like, yeah, I'm either going to win really fast or I'll lose really fast. And unfortunately for him, he lost really fast. But we got plenty of great players still in the hunt for our top cut. And right now it is Nicholas Galaz with that Gardevoir EX up against Kieran Farah with that Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. And some of the games we've had so far have been really awesome to watch so far.
Oh my gosh, they've all been amazing here. I mean, the skill level is off the charts. Kyle and I got to cast a total pop-off moment, multi-prize card knockout from Yoshi. But here is kind of the age-old question, or should I say age-new question, I suppose, because we have Gardevoir EX. It has been dominating in our format for so long now, but we have the new kid on the block ready to punk it up here, Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX. And why don't we take a quick look at the bottom left of that Gardevoir EX card? What do you see there, Jeremy?
I think that's a dark weakness. What type is Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX?
Yeah, I think that I see a ball of darkness there, top right on that Marnie's Grimmsnarl. So we can see this is sort of a response to Gardevoir here, and it has so much power behind this deck. I'm excited to see Kieran Farah navigate through this matchup. Of course, one of our most talented Canadian players. His most recent placement with Frostlass Monkey Dory as a deck. So, hey, throwing another attacker here, and we're getting things done, huh, Jeremy?
Yeah, essentially, and a lot of Monkey Dory. Both of these decks playing a lot of Monkey Dory, and I think we're going to be seeing that throughout this entire format, this tournament, and then even NAIC as well.
Get your math caps on.
A Genebrain is just too good.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is one of the best cards in our format. Of course, Kieran's going to have to face off against Nico here on the left side. Again, playing Gardevoir EX. I'm excited to see what Nico brings to this matchup. You know, Nico has to know this is going to be a deck that is out there in numbers, soon to be at NAIC, and now Kieran's taking it to our table here today. And the setup looks pretty solid so far. We see the monkey already with a dark energy attached first turn here, the 2 Impy Dip down thanks to that Buddy Buddy Poffin with the Snow Runt on and the Spike Moose already out, so that can search out another Pokemon for the setup for following turns.
Yeah, it is crazy how much support Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX got in the set. You have Spike with Jim being able to search for a Marnie's Pokemon, so you're never really worried about that. You're not worried about your attachments because of Punk Up, so you can always attach to a Monkey Dory, and then Frostlass just dealing that incremental damage helps with the Shadow Bullet to be able to pull together big knockouts, as we've already seen. And you see there in Nico's deck, he has that Shaman. Now, the Shaman is going to be great at stopping the 30 damage from Shadow Bullet, but it only has 80 HP, and it has an ability. So with Frostlass and Monkey Dory damages building up, it might not be enough.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see what happens here between these players, if that's going to be the age-old story. Artisan coming out onto the field now to get some basics out onto Nico's side here. Kieran, I believe, did take a loss against Tord Reklev earlier in the tournament. So does have one loss here, but all wins after that. So going to see how he fares. I'm sure he feels pretty good going against Gardevoir EX, but I'm curious to see how he navigates the matchup. Of course, we see the Monkey Dory on Nico's side getting a Dark Energy, unlocking that Adrenabrain ability here. We have a full board of Pokemon with that Shaman. That's a brand new card that we're looking at, Jeremy, as well. Shaman. It blocks the damage coming from your opponent's side onto your basic Pokemon. How do you think that's going to come into play here?
Yeah, well, again, it's just all dealt with Frostlass and Monkey Dory damage, hopefully, right? But early game, it's going to be helpful, at least just preventing that Shadow Bullet damage, and
Yeah.
you're still going to be doing 180. You're still going to knock out pretty much anything in Nico's deck, but it's good support. Again, might be a liability later on, but
Yeah, it takes
starting off strong here with that Technical Machine evolution to get 2 Curlia is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the age-old story here for Gardevoir, evolving into these Curlia on the bench, getting it set up as possible. Of course, not the same Curlia we used to have, but still nice to get that extra HP down and get the Gardevoir. I mean, how Gardevoir EX works is pretty much how it's always worked before. You want to discard Psychic Energy, re-accelerate them to your field, and take some big knockouts. Now, going against Kieran, his setup is going to matter a lot here, and getting a Shaman down on his side is pretty big because there is a very powerful Pokemon in the Gardevoir EX deck that attacks all of your Pokemon or any of your Pokemon, and it gets scary. It's only a 1-prizer. Have you heard of it, Jeremy?
It's screaming a lot.
It's screaming. It's out there yelling around. Screamtail is a huge threat. So getting that Shaman out is pretty nice. It is only going to protect, again, the basic Pokemon. But hey, that keeps Pokemon on your field here. We see the TM Evo now on Kieran's side. Going to get some evolutions set up for Kieran as well.
Yeah, I actually think Shaman's probably better against Gardevoir than it is against Marnie's Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, for sure.
Screamtail has been an attacker that has been so popular for Gardevoir and able to just control a lot of games and even mount a ton of comebacks as well.
Yeah, protecting as long as it doesn't have that rule box around, which is pretty cool. Frostlass coming down, that means the pings are going to start going here, Jeremy. We're on a clock. I said this is get your math caps on here, Jeremy.
Yeah.
What are we looking at as far as the math that both these players are going to be trying to line up for these future turns in this matchup?
Well, it's just going to be interesting because it's all about how many Monkey Dory with Dark Energy can you get on the field.
Right.
Right now, Nico has 2, with one of them having an energy. And this damage is going to build up to where you can start taking prizes and maybe take prizes before you start attacking, which is the best part. And with Kieran able to use that Technical Machine evolution, it actually gets that Frostlass and that...
Morgrim,
yeah, thank you. Into play and able to use that ability in between turns from the Frostlass is really good for Kieran. And you just need to build up damage, right? It doesn't matter where. You just want to start Adrenabraiding 30 everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, the more you can Adrenabrain, the better. Like I said, some of these Grimmsnarl EX decks have the ability to play 4 Monkey Dory if they have it in the list and they have the energy to account for, which they do. So as much damage that you can sling back at your opponent's side, the better. Now, of course, we do have the weakness that Gardevoir EX has does come into play here as well for Nico. What do you think is his strategy of trying to play around that as much as possible? Because you have to have a Gardevoir EX. That's the only way you're going to be starting to accelerate energy onto your attackers in this game, thanks to that Psychic Embrace ability. But how does he want to play around, getting that Gardevoir EX out and protecting it as much as possible?
Yeah, well, you only can protect it so much, right? You need it in play because that's how you're going to build up the damage to get those Adrenabrains. And we see here that Shaman starting to get built up, 4 damage counters on it already. And now Nico's going to be able to charge up this Drifloon, take a knockout on the Monkey Dory with the Dark Energy, which is probably the most important thing in play on Kieran's side of the board.
Yeah, maybe this is the strategy here for Nico in this specific matchup. Taking knockouts against these important Pokemon on Kieran's side. We see the Shaman get taken out, the Monkey Dory go down. That's a huge downfall here for Kieran. He's going to have to reestablish some way to sort of earn back his keep in this matchup here now that he's lost those 2 essential Pokemon.
Yeah, and Nico playing it perfectly where you have that Gardevoir EX set up. Now Kieran can get that Grimmsnarl EX out, maybe a Boss's Orders or a Counter Catcher, bring up the Gardevoir, take the knockout, tie things up. But you have that Curlia on the bench waiting to get evolved into another Gardevoir. And hopefully with Adrenabrain and Bravery Charm, you can build up that Drifloon where you can take enough or deal enough damage to that Marnie's Grimmsnarl.
Yeah, I mean, Balloon Blast, it is deadly on the field. Drifloon has such a powerful move there. It's just that 2 Psychic Energy. Of course, you're taking damage every time Psychic Embrace gets those damage counters onto the Drifloon, but that's what it needs. It's 30 damage for every single damage counter it has. So as you see there, it only needed a little bit, but it can swing hard and heavy thanks to cards like Bravery Charm, bulking up its HP, allowing it to get beat up a little more so that it can swing back even harder. That is a dangerous balloon, Jeremy.
Yeah.
That's not a balloon I'd want to be looking at anytime at any parties that I go to.
That's a balloon where you hope you let it go and it flies away, right?
Yeah. And it just hunts you down after that. Come back and burst.
I think Nico is definitely in the driver's seat. Here, it's never good for your deck when you're facing down a Gardevoir that attacks turn 2. And that's exactly what Nico was able to do. Now, Kieran does get another Monkey Dory in play, but we're just going to see a Felch. Is that what it's called?
Filch? Something like that. Wait. Filch, yeah.
Filch,
I guess that's how you say it.
Just draw a card, try to build up that damage, but you're building up that damage just for these Monkey Dories on Nico's side of the board to start spreading them back over, and that's not good.
Yeah, just drawing a card, that's all Kieran was really able to do, as he kind of just takes his turns, racks up some damage here on these Pokemon as we see it being thrown back. But usually Frostlass is not taking damage in between turns because the Freezing Shroud is its own ability. But as we can see, Nico could put damage wherever he wants with a Monkey Dory Adrenabrain. So putting that damage onto the Frostlass, it's only 90 HP. Now it's got 50 damage on it as Nico still continues to attack here. We see a discard of a bunch of cards here. And we have the Bravery Charm now on that Drifloon, so it can just keep swinging. It is a huge threat, and it's only a single prize Pokemon.
Yeah, well, the biggest part here, too, is putting it out of range of Adrenabrain from Kieran. So a simple 30 would not knock it out from that Monkey Dory. So now it's pretty safe, honestly, and it's going to force some action from Kieran, maybe a Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it. We unfortunately have just been seeing Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX come out so late, but hey, never count it out. We saw in our match before with Yoshi, he was able to absolutely clutch that game. Multi-prize card knockouts back on the field, so we'll have to see what Kieran has in store for us. One thing Kieran is good at is definitely some math here, as we see some healing off this Frostlass thanks to the Adrenabrain, taking up on that Shaman on the bench here, now has 30 damage.
No, it should have 40.
Yeah, I think they fixed that.
All right. But still, very much on the back foot here for Kieran. Doesn't really have much in hand, and still no safe way to get that attacker on board.
Oh, when in doubt, get some more monkeys, I guess.
Yeah, well, there's 7 copies between the two players. So.
Yeah, that is so wild. We see another monkey hit the field. As we said, I mean, you can put really as many as you want down. You have the free attachment for it because of your Punk Up, allowing you to accelerate energy onto your other main attackers here in the Marnie's Grimmsnarl. So we're going to see not 1, but 2 monkey here for Kieran. At least come out of the deck here. Is he putting it down too? That's full board of monkey?
The Artizone.
Oh, yeah, so it has to go down then. So we're seeing another monkey come out. It's going to go into the active position thanks to that rescue board. That Frostlass is out, at least back on the bench in a little bit of safety. But, yeah, as you said, Jeremy, that's it. It's just a monkey in the active sort of to be sacrificed out there as Nico continues here. I mean, he's just taking turn after turn, taking knockouts easily with this Drifloon. And he's only got a couple of prize cards left to take. How do you think Kieran can come back in this, Jeremy? Is there any way?
I don't honestly think so. This Frostlass is going to most likely get knocked out from another Adrenabrain, and...
Yeah, they're fixing the math here. It's a lot of damage counters out here, folks. It's like 50 on this Frostlass on the bench now.
Yeah, had the 50 from the last turn.
Okay, so they're adding it up still?
I think Nico's just deciding where to put it. And yeah, so 20 from the Shaman onto that Frostlass, and then we're taking the knockout on the active with Balloon Burst yet again. And yeah, this is just so bad for Kieran right now.
Oh, yeah, I mean, look at that. The Frostlass is going to go down soon. The monkey just got knocked out for another prize card. Nico only has 2 left to take. no weakness has even been accounted for because we haven't even seen an attack. You can't even say really the Filch did anything. It doesn't even do damage.
Yeah.
Just draws a card. So we're talking monkeys in a dream here, unfortunately, for Kieran. This is best of one. So this is it between our players here. And Nico's sitting in such a good spot. Kieran gonna try to get some of that damage off here now thanks to having 2 Adrenabrain abilities on these Monkey Dory. That's all he can do. Like, what is the hand? I want to see the hand so bad. Like, what is he working with?
Yeah, well, you have the option to take the knockout on the Monkey Dory on the bench. Kieran goes for it, grabs a prize card. Now, the prizes weren't too bad. There was a couple energy in the prize cards, that iron bundle and a night stretcher. But other than that, nothing too much. Still has not found Grimmsnarl EX. Maybe he has it in hand and just been waiting this entire time. Seems like it's finally time to come out. No!
No,
Just
that's
another
it.
pass. All right.
The
This is
Morgrim comes out, but
crazy.
yeah, no evolution, no punk up, no energy. It's just a pass over to Nico now, who only needs to take 2 prize cards here. 110 total HP on those monkey, but they've already been damaged quite a bit here. 50 on one, 30 on the other. See, the Frost Last has damage still, even though Kieran's been trying to spread that damage around, heal it up a bit between turns.
Here's
But-
just another Monkey Dory
Oh,
secret
gosh.
box. Could find a Night Stretcher, and just like that, Adrenabrain able to take the last KO, and then you KO with Balloon Burst, and just like that. Gardevoir,
That's it.
3-1, took down Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, but there was not much of anything that Kieran did during that game.
Yeah, that was super unfortunate. I almost want to watch it back and be like, what happened here? But honestly, was it just the strength of the setup between both of our players?
I think
Like,
so.
Nico had such a solid setup in the beginning there, and Kieran, I thought, was looking pretty good in the beginning, but just fell short.
I think, yeah, a turn or two behind the setup of Gardevoir, and because of that, Gardevoir is just able to continually get damage in play with Psychic Embrace, you Adrenabrain. We saw if Monkey Dory got knocked out, there was another one that just replaced it. It was really crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that was wild. That is one thing. This brand new deck, Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX, it doesn't really have that much of a draw engine. That's one thing that you see. You know, you can get everything out here, but if you don't have the draw, if you don't have the cards, what are you going to do with it, Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to probably lose the game.
You're probably going to lose, which unfortunately is what we saw there for Kieran. But Nico was able to take the win here. Let's talk to Nico about that match. Hey, what's up? Congrats.
Grab the mic there.
Oh, yeah, this is yours. How are you feeling
Thank
after
you.
that win?
I'm feeling good. Like that's I like Marnie, but that's a problem that it break a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you practice a lot for this specific matchup?
Not really. Like I know how it's going. Like I have to play around, confused. Like when Marnie gets set up, I have to use Monkey Dory and pray for the tails, and that is how the matchups go. It's like it's 60-40, I think, for Marnie, but it has some of that hands that they
Right.
don't do anything, pass
Yeah.
or something like that.
The consistency isn't
Yeah,
all
the
there.
consistency is the problem. They don't have bench space for Fez and DPD, so it's hard to start to dragging cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, meanwhile, your consistency, your turn 2 attacking, just everything's great. It
Insane.
seemed like you drew everything you needed.
Yeah, I drew pretty well this game. Like last round against Ian Robb, I drew like perfect too. So it's the deck. I like Gardevoir. I think it's super consistent. I am playing something the least like Henry Chow played the last regional in USA, cutting the Rapska and adding Chiming and another card. So it was I don't play that much with the deck, but I play a lot like alone, like drawing cards and thinking, doing how many times I do Kirlia turn 2.
Yeah.
So that was my testing. Like,
I mean, it
super
seems to have
awesome.
paid off a lot.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, it's super consistent. So it's a very good deck.
Yeah, and we got one more Swiss round. How are you feeling with the field here, with all the great players and all the decks that they brought?
I feel like really well. I was hoping to do well. Like I don't know if I make it to asymmetric yet. I think it's 3-2, so I may be in. But I was trying to get fun this tournament.
Yeah.
I probably gonna play Gardevoir for international, but I was trying to get fun and playing with a lot of good players.
How has your expectations been for the tournament so far? Has it been fun? Has it been good? Like
Yeah, it's fun. When you don't have like a judge, like you can play like, oh, I make a mistake. Can I come back? Yeah, sure. I know it's not gonna happen in the tournament, but it's more fun. You can relax and you can
It's more
play.
casual.
Yeah, it's more casual, but at the same time, you know you're playing against a very good player, and they thinking the best. They're
Yeah.
playing the best.
now you have a second place at an international.
Yeah.
You hoping this weekend for a first place? You know?
Yeah, I
It's
hope.
not going to be with a deck as crazy as Grand Bull,
Yeah.
but, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope to. I mean, for me, I like to play, so for me, having a good result is good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, you did super well with the deck. If you do decide to play at NAIC, good luck to you. Of course, good luck
Thank
here
you.
today as well. But we're excited to watch the rest of your journey. So thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, great interview there. You got to think.
everyone, and welcome back to the Masters Cup Invitational. I am Jeremy Jalen here with Kyle Sablehouse. We are Saballin'.
Woo! I'll hit it.
All right, yeah, and that is a swish from Kyle there. And
Thanks.
this has been such an awesome tournament so far. It has definitely exceeded expectations. There's tons of amazing talent in the room, even just spectating the tournament. How have you been feeling, Kyle?
It's been so cool. Not only just the players that are playing in the tournament, but we have some old heads out here that are watching alongside, rooting on some of these players too. Well, a lot of great people that have been showing up and giving their support to the stream here and the tournament itself. It's been a lot of fun. I can't turn around and not see a friendly face out here, man.
Yeah, it has been glorious to see. Definitely a lot of work went into putting this tournament on. Again, shout out to Rip.Fun, all the people able to put this together, Hunter Butler. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, really cool. I mean, it's a concept that we've only seen so many times in this game, and we loved it back in its old iterations, and sure enough, we found a new opportunity with this, featuring all these different players from all across the globe. A great opportunity here right before the North American International Championships, a brand new set to work with. But we're not going to see brand new decks this time around, Jeremy. What are we going to see here this time?
The old faithful, Raging Bolt up against Charizard Dragapult. We have two former world champions going at it, and they are kind of in the thick of things. We got Andre Schoolball up against Jesper Eriksson. Andre is 3-1, so guaranteed for ASIM, trying to win to make it out of ASIM. Meanwhile, Jesper is on a win and in, 2-2, hoping to take it down and continue this tournament run.
Yep, Jesper Eriksson, the new addition to the European caster squad, has got that world championships that you mentioned in the senior division years and years
Still
ago.
counts. Still
We'll
counts.
give it to him. And he's up against a great opponent in Andres. He is such a great talent. He's playing a deck that's pretty fierce too, this Raging Bolt deck. We know it can pop off, and what a turn to start things off here with the fan rotom.
Yeah, you don't even need to search out for it. It's just start it. You get that fan call right away, able to get those hoot in play, Noctowl in hand, and this is what we usually see from Raging Bolt.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity. See what you got to start things off here. And of course, you want to build up, have those hoot, but there's that new inclusion. We've seen it sneaking around. It was one of the favorites in Christian Labella's list, that Ditto. What a great starter to have. You sneak that Pokemon in the active spot, and you can get just about anything there. And we've seen a lot of players leaning towards that baby Raging Bolt, but there is Shaman on the other side to think about.
Yeah, that is true. One of the newer inclusions of this Destin Rivals format is that Shaman, with its ability to stop that bench damage on non-rule box Pokemon. And here, the retreat to the Ditto finds that Teal Mask Ogerpon right away, and this is needed for your Noctowls. You need a Terra Pokemon to play, and might as well get it out turn one.
Yeah, this is pretty much one of the best plays that you can come up with on this in this matchup, just in general. You know your opponent likes to start off with that early Charizard, start to really put some pressure on. If you have the grass energies already preloaded onto this Pokemon, not only are you threatening some of those weaker knockouts if you want to remove a Dreepy or two, but just the threat of removing a Charizard at any point seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely something Jesper is going to have to watch out for. Now, it is more of a thicker Dragapult line, so playing the 4-4-2, a lot of the times we've seen it kind of thinned down in a deck like Charizard Dragapult, but Jesper's been championing this deck for a while now with Oscar Madsen and a bunch of other players. How do you think it's positioned in this format?
Well, when you top deck Fire Energy, it's pretty incredible. That was one of the best cards for him to see right there. Has the Technical Machine Evolution in hand, ready to roll. Use the Brock Scouting, can search out some friends here too. He's got everything he needs to get a nice consistent setup. But, I mean, as you were talking about, this is a deck that has answers to a lot of different options. He can focus on his Dragapult if he wants to spread damage and make use of those high hit points. Once that Pokemon falls, he has the Charizard to fall back on. And of course, use that Burning Darkness to deal so much damage. And he has some cute tech inclusions too. I believe he also plays the Chi-Yu in here as a great answer to that Teal Mask Ogerpon.
Yep, I was just about to mention that. A great revenge attacker that you can put up as a one prize attacker, kind of throw off Andre's prize mapping a little bit throughout the game.
Yeah, it's sneaky. It doesn't work in a lot of matchups, but when it works, and you have that option for the Golden Go players, Teal Mask Ogre Pawns. You can sneak it into a few different strategies, and I'm sure he'd like to make use of that at some point. This is not the turn, however. This is a great turn to use TM Evolution. He's going to do just that.
Yeah, now the deck does play 2 Badoo, but having access to this Technical Machine Evolution just to get the threat of a Charizard as soon as turn 2 is great, especially when Andre was forced to attach energy and retreat that Fan Rotom instead of get an energy on that Raging Bolt.
Yeah, how often do we see this from Andre's 0 energies on the board? We've seen sometimes like 3 or 4 energies from these players, just raining grass energies left and right. If the Earthen Vessels are there, this deck looks unstoppable. And now it's on Andres to do just that. And he has a single Hoot to help out here.
Well, there is a grass energy finally, most likely off the top of the deck, because we probably would have seen that Teal Dance last turn just to get the extra card. So gonna have to try to figure out what to work with. We see that Iron Leaves EX in hand. That's another card that's pretty important in this matchup if Jesper is attacking with Charizard.
Yeah, we've seen just that grass weakness is something so important to focus on. Gives you that answer to the Charizard decks. You see the Marnie's Grimmsnarl starting to sneak up as well. So give yourself a little more hope other than energy switching and Teal Mask Ogre Pawns. Make sure that it's all just built into one card.
Now here is the Jewel Seeker, going to be able to search for 2 trainer cards. And Andre's going to have to try to figure it out. I think there's an Ultra Ball in the hand, Counter Catcher. Not the best hand here.
I'm nervous. Yeah, this is not the greatest setup. This isn't exactly a Professor Sada type of turn. This looks, yeah, more like a Crispin turn. You don't have all the resources directly ready to go. You could start to load up on maybe Raging Bolt, but yeah, you want to find more help, and Nestball's going to try to do that, but you start to worry about, are you ever going to find that Area 0 underdepths? We're running out of bench spaces here.
And if you don't have the, yeah, we're going to Crispin here, so could we just attack with the Teal Mask Ogre Pawn? Like, I know it's not the best, and it's going to force another grass energy from the hand.
It's got to be there, and then what are you walking into? There's a Charmeleon. That's what I would say, thank you, please. I'd love that.
Energy goes on that Raging Bolt on the bench. Now, it's going to take a lot more work to actually even take a knockout. I don't think it's possible right now with the way the board is.
Yeah, not seeing it here. It would have to be in combination with the Energy Switch, Latios, something like that. We'd have to deep dive into the list to see what we're...
I'm looking now. There is no Energy Switch, so not going to be able to do much there.
So you're saying this isn't a great turn. Okay, well, maybe in that regard, you use your Fan Rotom to help out, and he can do just that.
You know?
That helps out. The Area 0 pops into play. Fan Rotom, thankfully, ready to pull the plug on Little Dreepy. And, I mean, Jesper's going to have some momentum on his side to work with. He's got 2 Stage 1 evolutions ready to roll, but you don't want to attack into Fan Rotom, so we'll see what else he can make happen this turn.
Yeah, Fan Rotom pulling double duty. Searches for all your Pokemon and also takes knockouts with that Assault Landing. Definitely a crazy card to make from Pokemon.
Okay, well...
Serendipity EX.
Kind of a pink card, but this is the pink card I'm looking for. This is exactly where you want to be. Prime Catcher, the A-Spec this time around, and he's got the Iono to follow it up. It is a pretty great turn here. Could remove the Terra from play, take a big knockout. He's just hoping for Mr. Charizard to make an appearance.
There's 2 in the list, so it's going to be a little bit risky. Is that an Ultra Ball in
hand?
It
looked like 3rd card Ultra Ball, but you know what? Keep digging, my friend. Let's see. Still got more resources to find with that Recon Directive, too, so he sees 11 cards. This time around, finds the wrong Stage 2 evolution, but as you mentioned, he might have the answer already.
Yeah, we still don't know the prize cards, so maybe it's both of them are prized. Who knows?
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. We'll see.
Buddy Poffin gets 2 Dreepy. Jesper looked through the deck as well, so going to have at least perfect knowledge on this turn. You have that Chi-Yu, okay. But you're still going to need to charge it up with the Charizard. So Ultra Ball here, going to discard some cards. That Luxurious Cape, great card in this deck in general, but not in this matchup. Raging Bolt's able to climb that 100 HP a little bit faster than most decks.
I mean, what a turn right here, though, for Jesper. Has all the follow-up setup that he needs, has the energies, can preload the Chi-Yu with that extra energy. He's threatening the revenge attack follow-up if there ever were a grass Pokemon that sneaks into the mix to remove this Charizard. But right now, it looks like Andres would have to come out of nowhere with a Raging Bolt and lose every energy on board to get the job done. And we're just not seeing the cards yet. It was a new Iono'd hand.
Now, do we see the energy on the Chi-Yu, or does it go on the Dracloak trying to prep for a Dragapult?
And that's the question that he has to ask himself. He's going to think about it, and he thinks it's more likely that a grass attacker sneaks into the mix than the latter. And I suppose that's fine either way when you have your energy attachment for the turn.
Oh, yeah, perfect. And there is that Burning Darkness, taking the knockout on that Steel Mask Ogerpon EX. Yes, we're going down to 4 prizes to Andre's 5, and off the Iono, the hand didn't seem too amazing. I did see a Professor Sada's Vitality, but there's only now there's the 2 energy, but you only have that 1 ancient Pokemon in that baby Raging Bolt to really try to do anything. You have a Hoot Hoot in play that you can't evolve into Noctowl because there's no Terra Pokemon. It's looking rough.
Oh, man. Yeah, body language is telling me we're in a tough spot here. He's just fluttering the discard pile, trying to find the play for the turn. I mean, even a Noctowl gets you somewhere if you have the Terra. Nestball can get you the Terra.
But then you have another grass Pokemon liability in play. You're not getting that Raging Bolt EX to actually take a knockout on the Charizard.
So you're not feeling comfortable here.
No, it might be an Iron Leaves EX played that would be able to move a grass energy from the Teal Mask and the energy from the Fan Rotom, another grass for turn.
Yeah. Well, a lot of options to consider with not a lot of options in the hands.
And you take away a lot of those if you don't get the Terra Pokemon, because if you go for Raging Bolt here, you're bench locked. You can't use that Noctowl, and you just have to hope to draw into everything you need.
Truly uncomfortable spot here, filling the bench with the Area 0 and no Terra in play. Desperate times, but you know what? This typically means you have the answer. It might not be pretty, but we could see Professor Sada, double energy Raging Bolt, and baby Raging Bolt. Energy for the turn. 5 energy knockout on the Charizard. If the cards are there, it looks like they are. The Lightning is in hand. He's got the answer, but it was not pretty.
And you're still going to need to try to figure out a follow-up for the next turn, although attacking with the Raging Bolt EX means you're not going to get directly knocked out from the Chi-Yu, so that's a little bit of a reprieve. Oh, thank you. You finally stole my joke after, years of Chi-Yu
It's
being
been
out.
bad. I don't know the joke and the Chi-Yu, but you know what? We're gonna jump on it as soon as we can. Big knockout here. Charizard EX falls. Jesper now trying to find an opportunity to fight back here. And this is a cute spot here. I could see using a Dragapult EX, dealing damage to the Raging Bolt, dealing damage to a Pokemon like Hoot Hoot, and setting up a non-knockout big play for later on. You don't open up that bench space, force your opponent to have to throw a bunch of energies down with Sada again, and force them to have to target down Vezindipity or something. Do they even have the resources to do that and accelerate energies in the same turn?
Yeah, I think the worst play for Jesper right now would be to take a knockout.
Yeah.
You want that board locked up like it is now. There's no energy on there, so you're not really that scared. And here we do see, after the Recon Directive, an Ultra Ball could find that Dragapult EX.
Yeah, we did see one move to the bottom of the deck with the Recon Directive and shows that Buddy pop in to search out the Dreepies. Now can find his pal once more and promote it, evolve in the active spot, have one of the best attackers in the game ready to roll. And then from there, you've got a few more options. You could, once again, use Iono, limit your opponent down to 3 cards remaining. But does Jesper have the energy that he needs? He still needs to fulfill that Psychic requirement.
Yeah, the deck only plays, oh gosh, I'm blanking on the energy name. Luminous Energy.
Yeah, Luminous.
Yeah, there we go.
Not Legacy.
Yeah.
L Energy.
Wow, okay, so Jesper discarded the Iono off the Ultra Ball. That kind of guarantees that he had another one, had the Luminous Energy in hand, so this is kind of the perfect turn for Jesper.
I don't know if Andres is an actor, but I mean, he looked at those 3 cards with the most intense sadness I've ever seen. 4 cards for Jesper to work with. Does not need much. Suppose finding a little help here in a Dracloak would feel pretty nice, but Pheasantipity will help draw even more resources.
Still gets to draw 3 cards.
Oh, he's not done.
There
And you know what? That last card might be the one. That might be the money Pokemon. Monkey Dory snuck into this with all that damage on board. Woo!
Well, that is, assuming Andre
Ever
leaves
damage
damage
on board.
the board. Yeah.
Well, how do you knock out this Dragapult? I mean, I guess you just don't attack, but yeah, it doesn't feel great.
Yeah, this is not looking good for Andre. Thankfully, already locked up for a sim, so nothing too bad. We can kind of get a mulligan a little bit later, but man, this match has been just all Jesper so far.
Well, we're still going to see some consistent plays from Jesper. Wants to remain on top in this matchup, and he's going to do just that with the Fire Energies and the Dreepy thrown back in. Just wants to make sure he has that consistency. Is a Dreepy really what you need at this point? No, but it leads to additional draws with Dracloak, and that's basically the only way you lose from this point is if you can't find those closeout resources.
Yeah, the easy knocked out Charizard is gone. It already did its job. Infernal Rain charged up. The Chi-Yu for later, we're good. It took 2 prizes, and now Phantom Dive is just going to wreck Andre's board.
In a great spot here. Just wants to play out the remaining cards, make sure he's got as best a setup as possible, but we are reaching for some pips, and they're looking pretty solid here. 200 to the active, 60 spread around. Might want to set up a couple different knockouts here. He's going to choose a little bit of Mew, some Hoot Hoot, and the Fan.
All right, yeah, I kind of like that spread. Gives Chi-Yu able to be knocked out or knock out the Mew later on, and you can still knock out that Hoot Hoot if it doesn't evolve into a Noctowl, which most likely is not going to be evolved into a Noctowl.
Yeah, what's that going to do? Jewel Seeker for... Oh, good.
All right, we see Night Stretcher for the fighting. Prime Catcher on the Dreepy. We're going to take another knockout with Assault Landing.
Here
and
we
Fan
go.
Rotom. This is really all Andre could do. Now, at 2 prize cards left, a little bit scary for Jesper, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spot where you'd like to incorporate a Pokemon like Chi-Yu and take a knockout and
Unless
take
we just
2
see a
prize
boss's
cards.
orders.
But if you just have the answer, you just win instead, and he's got opportunities to draw into that. He's already used his Prime Catcher, so Pheasantipity promotion makes you think that there's probably a rescue board to help out in this spot.
And there is that boss's orders.
Oh.
Brings up the Mew. We're going to have a retreat to the Dragapult EX. Phantom Dive taking 4 prize cards. And that is how you want to draw it up against a deck like Raging Bolt. Just take all your prize cards at once.
Yep. Load up, have all the opportunities waiting for you there. It's just, there's no answer. Once the damage is already on board, you're just trying to draw the right options. Andres has what, 1 judge to find in that spot? You're just not going to find it. You have no Terra in play. He had to go for that line. Completely understandable, but you also are just putting that last nail in your coffin.
Yeah, you had the 1 Nest Ball, and you had to decide between the Teal Mask or that Raging Bolt. Raging Bolt got the knockout, but from there, just unable to do much of anything thanks to Iono, thanks to being bench locked. It was really a struggle towards the end game there.
Well, we don't have official confirmation, but we're pretty sure that ASIM just is going to be a 3-2, right?
Yeah, I think the players were saying 11 people total.
Okay, that sounds pretty great. It will include both of these players, so we are not done yet with either of them, and this also gives us an opportunity to sit down and chat with Jesper Eriksson, our winner here in round number 5. He's a tall boy. He needs to figure out his way to get over to us, but we'll give him a moment. He's earned it.
Yeah, it's interesting how much Dragapult Charizard has been revived format.
Yeah, I guess we'll speak to the master himself, or at least the one who steals the deck list. Jesper Eriksson, you've been playing this deck way too much, and now it finally is good. How does it feel to be right all that time?
I mean, I'm probably not super right. it was way stronger back in Drago format because like you're 50-50 in Drago. Basically everything else you're also 50-50, but like the fact of like you can go Arven, Precious Trolley was Evo back then. Now I top taking that Fire Energy turn one.
Yeah.
Turn one was pretty good.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, he's just destined to make cut. That's gonna work out pretty well.
Yeah,
for him.
and then like Andre not being able like not prize my Charmeleon, also pretty helpful. Andre not being able to hit the knockout on Charmeleon was also pretty nice since I didn't get a Puffin on top. I had to play Brock for it. It was just a bit scrappy. If that Charmeleon would have been knocked out, then this would have been like a whole trying to bolt for 6 prizes kind of game, which you typically don't do quite well into bolt as, unless you're playing past formats without Noctowl. But at that point, it would literally been like one Noctowl being hit and now been done. So yeah, really thankful it happened like that. But yeah, the Fire Energy was too good because otherwise I would like need to like Iono, try to hit my basics that way, because if I just Brock down Amander, it could have been okay with the Fest and the Prime I had in hand even though, but then he could have gone, Prime Catcher Mander with the Rotom, and that would have been it.
Yeah, we saw obviously that was a big part of the game. The other part was a decision on Andre's side, but I mean, I feel like it was almost destined at that point. He had to make that choice. You saw the Nest Ball, and it doesn't go for a Terra Pokemon. At that point, were you locked in on your game plan?
I was really feeling really good when the Mew came down off the Nest Ball, because like he was trying to ensure himself that after Iono he could actually get some draw power, but I was Ionoing to free, meant that he had to draw at least 2 playable cards to even net anything off the Mew, and drawing 1 off Mew is not that strong. Mew is like better late game. He probably should have went for Ogerpon in that spot and tried to sack himself into like an Ultra Ball, which he still had loads of. Yeah. One of the 2 Noctowls being left, so I felt that was probably the better plan to go for. But still, you would need to hit that Noctowl, and you still need to get the knockout, which seemingly is... I mean, if he gets a knockout there, yes, he wins. But getting to that knockout, first of all, is kind of where you're like thinking, nah, that's not going to happen at all.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting to see. And now Andre being 3-1, already in ASIM cut, now you are going to join them. And how are you feeling with kind of like who's still left in the tournament, your deck choice, and like what you're hoping to see?
I mean, the deck takes pretty good 50-50s into most things. In this best of 1 kind of format, I've went second 3 times, and I've won those 3 games. Pretty detrimental, especially in best of 1. And going into ASIM, the deck's fine against most things. The Snarl matchup is pretty tricky to play. We do have some tricks for it with the Prime Catcher, with the Monkey, where you can go for a turn where you knock out a Monkey Dory, and you knock out a Frost at the same time, so you kind of gatekeep most of the damage getting to play, and then they're just hitting back at you. And also, when Snarl is at 3 prizes, and you go Zard plus Monkey, you're essentially one-shotting the Grimmsnarls. Yep. So you got a pretty good route to dealing with it, and even without Monkey, then them at 2 prizes would be a one-shot. So I think there's a lot of trickery that could be done in most matchups, and there's not like a singular matchup I don't want to face, because no one's playing Walls in here. We're smart enough to not do that.
All right, last question then. I mean, we all saw it. Jan Mega's back. What are you doing, man? You won Worlds with it, and you didn't have the stones to bring it? What's going on?
It's pretty decent. It's just a worse Armor Rouge box, I feel, because you have to constantly have energies in deck, and I'm just waiting till the Vespiquen gets out. That's like next set, isn't it?
Okay.
Once that comes back, I will definitely be grinding.
Can we put you on record then, as this will be your next deck that you bring to a tournament?
You will be seeing a tweet at a locals at the very least with me playing Yamega Vespiquen and maybe regionals. I don't even know if it's good. Yeah. You can play Noctowl. That's like your new Shaman engine.
Okay, all right.
You play Squawk, that's kind of playing Shaman. Oh, we can build the deck for sure, but we just need the Forest. It's pretty needed.
Yeah, that's a pretty good card, meta defining, banned list, all those things.
I mean, banned list after I won with it, kind of a sign. You can't let me win a Worlds. Like,
yeah. More the reason.
No, it's definitely definitely is Shift Tree for sure. The Giant fan. Speaking of like Giant fans, we do have fans in here, and I do want to shout out the tournament host, Hunter especially, for getting fans in here. Had it not been for fans in Aircon here in New Orleans, we would have been melted already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's been so great to be a part of. Obviously, this was on the back of so many people, so many companies trying to help out and make this thing possible, and we're super grateful to be a part of it. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we're not done yet. We're going into asymmetric cut here soon. It's going to be an absolute blast. Don't go anywhere. We'll
I'll
have
be in it.
that soon with this guy. See you soon.